Is that the air conditioner?
The following program contains adult language and juvenile conversations. Listener discretion is advised.
Black Cat Anthems for Redheaded January Girls is 43 tracks of awesome. Now let me lay this out for you, folks. Say you don't care about My Special Lady Friend. Say you don't care about the plight that this incredible woman has gone through. This CD is fucking awesome. If you don't care who it's for, where else are you going to get 30 some odd tracks of music? And there's not a bad track on it. There might be a track that might not be your thing, but I defy anyone to find a bad track on there. It is an awesome record. Just look up Black Cat Anthems for Redheaded January Girls, and it's what comes up first. And buy it. It's totally worth it, and you will be helping somebody, but the music is good enough that if you don't care, you're still getting a great record. And welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 301 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is a phantasmagorical spin kick straight through the heart of pop culture, navigated by the Deadites. The Deadites are the world's greatest electroshock band. We destroy monsters, we drink booze, we win championship belts, and apparently there is life after 300. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so this is what it's like, huh?
Yeah. That's what it's like on the other side. I feel like we've died and passed on now.
Yep. It's not all that much more special than it was when it was $2.99.
That was at least a better bargain.
Raven Shadow, do you have a special name for this episode? The Pan Labyrinth of whatever?
The Pan's Labyrinth episode.
I didn't know if he was going to make it. He looked Johnny Too Good to Be Around for the intro gave me a sly smile as he left.
Use another name.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Too Good to Hang Around for the intro gave me a sly smile as he left at 9:05.
Yeah.
To go.
And of course, luckily, you walked in as the fucking music was finishing.
You could say it was destiny.
No, you couldn't.
It was timed.
Density has popped me to you.
I'm a professional. I know.
You're not a professional. You're the opposite. You're the antithesis of a professional.
A professional would be here for the intro.
You have professional hair. That's about as far as it gets with you.
Zero. That's correct.
No, don't even give him that.
Listen.
A pro wrestling locker room, you would do poorly.
Well, a pro wrestling ring, I would do poorly. Not very
Well, what are
big.
you talking about, Wolfie? I mean, here he go. Here, 2 minutes before we hit the air, and this yucking futz over here decides to take a stroll down to the bathroom so he could go purdy himself up. Meanwhile, you, on the other hand, just take your hair and tie it in a I don't know what the hell that is.
That'd be a man bun.
No. That's not a man bun. It's like a top knot.
Yeah.
No, top knot's up here. I do have it in the bun.
It's a full cross
man bun.
My hair is pretty long at this point, and
who's got longer hair? You or
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Whoa, fucking Miss Johnny adamant about that.
Yeah, really? he answered that pretty
Pull out
quickly.
The fucking measuring stick.
Yeah.
Fucking me.
Who's fucking you?
Well, I don't know. Taking applications. But I think we're all trying to say is that we're very excited to answer your point, Aries. The all new, all different beginning for Trick or Treat Radio.
Well,
a great jumping on point.
I think Aries' beard might be longer than both of our
I think
hair.
a cliff is a great jumping off point.
Yeah, good.
That's not a name for the episode.
Well, no, it's
is that the episode title? A great jumping on point.
Yeah. Jump in, lover.
Right. I think that Raven Shadow and Aries will be proud of me. I ordered not one, not two, not three, but
you're doing the MZ math.
You're right, but 6 Superman comics.
Wow. Of issue 1000?
No, I got
I thought you meant you.
I got the Man of Steel, but here's what's interesting. The covers of Man of Steel, when I ordered them, gave me some insight that it's not what we thought it was. It's actually, he's actually kind of, and I don't know whose point of view it is, but going through Superman's whole history so far. It might even be after his origin. because I know there's some covers that have Brainiac on it, and there's a
Yeah.
there's a Death of Superman cover. So I'm interested.
Yeah, me too.
You know, it's weird that you bring up Superman. I was watching something on Superman earlier today. I don't know now, and when I was watching this, I didn't know which one of you guys is the bigger Superman fan. Is it you? Or
I don't like him.
It's between them. It
would be Raven Shadow.
but
Okay.
Ares might have a dog in the race.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
all right.
definitely.
It's not a pissing contest. Continue.
Yeah, some whose hair's longer. Piss off, John.
Who's got a longer beard?
I mean, it's Superman. It's not like we're talking about even like fucking like Turtles comics or anything like that. I don't really like Led Zeppelin, but I know what Stairway to Heaven is. You know.
Okay, well, I was watching this video on YouTube earlier today. It's from a...
Was it of some Asian girl eating?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's
She
the other
doesn't
kind
do
of
that
video.
anymore. Shari doesn't do that anymore. I'm pissed.
Yeah, you idiot.
Well,
Stop
she
doing
has
that.
Does she
Yeah,
get a
she
boy,
stopped-
she get a boyfriend or something, or is she smarting up with?
I don't know what her story is, but before she used to drown herself in ramen noodles and ketchup, and now all she does is take pictures of the countryside. I'm like, what the hell happened to you, Showery? I loved you. Now you're just lame.
She's on a better diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she was
eating
on a
right.
fine diet. She didn't really eat it. She just put it in her mouth and spit it back out. You know, hey, everybody's got to have a hobby. Well, anyway, but I digress. I was watching this video on Superman from this guy, this channel called Movie Bob. And he does this thing called Really That Good.
Okay.
And he's talking about in detail why Superman the movie is really that good. And it's like a 48-minute long retrospect.
Diatribe.
Quick talking retrospect and diatribe on
The
why
opposite
Superman
of you, then.
on why Superman is quote unquote really that good. And it's a great film, there's no doubt about it, but there's a lot of people that have skeptics about certain areas in the film which might downplay it a little bit. But if you watch this, it's really interesting. I mean, and he also does
And you're talking about Superman the movie.
yeah, the first
Okay, yeah,
Superman.
yeah,
Well, that doesn't have
Christopher
anything
Reeve.
to do with Superman. I thought you were trying to get into our comic knowledge. Like my
No,
my
fuck
Grammy
that.
could have a conversation about Superman. the
No, fuck
movie.
that. I one Superman comic is another Superman comic as far as I'm concerned. They're all the same as the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's like one member of the Insecticons is
Yeah.
another same as the member of the.
Pretty much.
You
Yeah.
know,
Grimcock.
You
Grimcock.
just can't read. That's why they're all the same. Why do all these
Pretty
Superman books
much.
have this guy in the red cape in it?
Yeah. What's that S stand for? Sucker? So anyway, it's and it plays into all the other Superman films, like how this one is so great while the rest of them suck, and even though part 2 is good, it's not great like Superman the
Yeah,
movie
it
is.
is. It's
Yeah.
great.
It is. Oh, I agree. I disagree with him on that part, but watch it. It's
there a
on his
question
channel
in
called
here?
I don't know if I want to dedicate 48 minutes to my life to this.
Huh?
What could you do with 48 minutes?
I could jerk off about
A million times.
58 times.
That's half. That's 48 minutes is more than half of the amount of time I allot myself to
What
write.
were you on the toilet doing this? Were you on the couch?
Who told you?
Was there a question though?
Yeah, I know. You,
No, I was just telling you.
why don't you need to
that
know who knew
there's
more
a-
then?
You know, you might find some interest in it
Oh, okay, good.
because he delves pretty deep into the whole mythos of Superman and what came before it and what came after it and how it became what it became. There's a lot more to it than what it sounds like I'm letting you guys in on, but it's an interesting watch.
More than meets the eye is what you're saying.
Yes, and they
Ah,
did, and he did Transformers the movie, and that's also 48 minutes long, and that was a fun watch.
I'll tell you this.
Is that his gimmick? And make him 48 minutes long?
Yeah, 48-minute
guess.
Johnson.
But he also does why Batman versus Superman is really that good as well.
Well, then you know the guy's fucking
I-
off the reservation.
Yeah, that movie's shit.
Speaking of shit, if it wasn't for incontinence, I would not be so caught up on Champions Carnival.
Honestly, how could you fuck that up?
Speaking of the opposite of shit, Mars, take a look. Who's that commenting in the chat room right there? Who is it?
Uh-oh.
Come on,
Oh,
say it.
he's getting a boner.
He's blushing.
He's blushing. He's as red as his shirt. You don't know where his face ends and his shirt begins.
It's Julie Meow
He's
Meow.
really turning red. Look at him.
No,
Yeah, I think he's the same color as his shirt.
You know what?
Snozzleberries really taste like snozzleberries.
You know what? To be perfectly honest, I can't really tell if his face really is turning red or if it's just the light hitting off his shirt, hitting him in the face. You got good camouflage. You need it today, pal.
Hi.
She says, "Where am I? Who are you people?"
Hi.
And
Hello,
Cecil says,
stranger.
"Either in a cornfield at the bottom of a donation bin, and everyone is actually toys." Yeah, all right.
What's in the box?
Slagoth says,
love
"Ares
toys.
looks like he just got done battling Thanos."
Ares has a lot of fucking shit on his table. I'm
Yeah.
intrigued to see what's going on.
Yeah,
there.
he brought-
Aries got a lot of issues.
Oh, I brought my own table today.
yeah.
Ares got his own table.
It's like he packs a bag like he's going to grandma's house.
This is Aries' action table.
So,
Yeah, we need a name for that table.
how about Action Sack?
Action table.
I believe it's just a folding table.
So, it's actually a TV tray.
TV tray. Yes, it is.
So,
It's a tablet tray.
I know that Aries saw it because we went together.
No.
And I know that Wolfie saw it because he was checking in at the same time I was across town. We can't talk about it really, and especially since I've talked about it for like 92 hours so far. But Infinity War.
Did you see it, Raven Shadow?
Why?
Because I got other stuff to do.
Like
Not
watch-
that you're not on a
like
podcast
watch-
where people might want to hear what you think of it.
Yeah, that's great.
It's
It was awesome.
I can tell you right now.
You're the one
There's-
person, you and MZ, the two people I didn't go see at opening weekend.
I know.
There's nothing else as important in your life than seeing this movie.
Well, and now you're right. You're absolutely right. It's the next one.
Yeah, you've
Next
accomplished all you needed to do. Now you just got to go see this movie.
I did. I guess I'll do that.
Yes.
You will.
Tomorrow.
My life is a miserable cesspool, and I pretty much fantasize about dying all day. And even I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I want to enjoy myself.
So it was good. Aries, Aries was very impressed with the small salad that I got, and
Ares, come on. Tell us. Level with us.
Oh, the whole popcorn M&M debacle again.
No, really?
You can't get the lid on the damn popcorn.
Jesus Christ.
Did you
Mark.
spill on someone's chair?
no.
All right, because I was talking to someone today that mentioned when they saw it, someone had your similar concoction, and I was, "What day did you go?" He's on Sunday.
Do you put the cock
And-
back in concoction?
We went on Saturday because
okay.
we love Marvel.
No.
And
Oh.
two of those monster sodas, those giant liter of cola sodas.
Wait, you want on
The
Saturday,
Bladder
Mars?
Busters.
I saw it before you?
Yeah.
No, we went on
Two
Friday.
of them.
Oh, okay.
On Friday.
Two Bladder Busters?
Yes.
Well, one I got. One I
What
got
were you
with
drinking?
one I got cherry Coke.
Mars.
And what was the other one? Cherry
some,
Coke.
Some diet concoctions.
Diet Cherry Coke.
Diet, just to level
Yeah,
it all
just,
off.
just to even it off.
Well, no, I wanted to. The cups were so fucking cool. I wanted one to have one. No, they were really cool. Weren't they cool?
No.
No,
They weren't. I thought they were kind of stupid.
I wanted one to have one, and I wanted one for the Legacy Collection. So, and they wouldn't give me one without soda in it. So I
Those
like, twist my
bastards.
arm.
yeah, because you're not paying for the soda, you're paying for the cup.
Well, I was gonna pay for the cup.
Just put it out your hand. Said, just pour it in your hand.
Please, can I have some more?
I was blown away by how good that movie was. That movie, I couldn't even fucking believe how good that movie was. That's how I feel about it. Like, with everything that it had working against it, and the fact that, 10 years, even if they were all as good as the best ones, like 10 years, it's gonna run out of steam, right? Like. I was really blown away.
This isn't any spoiler at all, but the thing I would have to say about the movie is, regardless of what I thought of it, it's a Herculean effort to write that script and to give everyone screen time in the way that they did.
How long is the movie?
7 hours.
2 hours and 36 minutes, I think.
Oh, okay. So then,
Pretty long.
All right.
But they managed to fit in almost all of the characters. They all had some meaningful sort of role that they played.
They all got equal airtime.
Yep.
So you couldn't really tell who had the real starring role.
Oh, I mean, it's not that. It's. I'm just saying, it's when you can fit all those characters in there and
Right.
and make it that they all work. None of them seem like accessories, like they're just thrown in for plot, contrivances. They all made sense being in there, and some of the team ups I thought were great.
Yep.
Once again,
Yep.
I don't want to spoil. It's not a spoiler, but one of the team ups I thought was especially fun with a certain god.
Right.
That's all I'll say. But
I
that,
would
that
be-
was a fun team up.
I would be hard pressed to imagine that whoever your favorite is, right, with the exception of 2 characters maybe, that if you went in there and you weren't pleased with the amount of time your favorite was in the movie.
Raven Chat, we're not going to spoil anything. We're in the room. You can still hear
Yeah,
us.
taking those off ain't gonna stop it.
Yeah. We're not going to spoil anything.
But yeah, no, it was
Go comb your hair some more.
it was incredible. You'll love it, Raven Chat. You won't
It's-
even believe it.
I don't even care about you. It's the listeners.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for them.
Yeah, you will love it. Like I feel like I've been trying to envision that movie my whole entire life. You know, so
Yeah, and you better go see it before they get spoiled.
Yeah, I'm amazed that it hasn't already.
yeah, I haven't had
Honestly.
a single spoiler.
I saw one potential spoiler. I don't know if it's true or not because I'll ask you, Dynamo, when we're off the air.
I honestly don't think you can spoil it fully. Like I think someone could tell you what would happen, but I think Raven Shadow is a comic book fan. Like I think that you can sort of expect some things.
Well, yeah, I mean, I read Infinity Gauntlet.
Right.
And
Yeah,
Infinity
that-
War.
But here's the thing:
and
that is
Crusade.
as much Infinity Gauntlet or Infinity War
Yeah.
as Civil War was Civil War.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I had read
Right.
all those things too, and
But
I
there are
don't-
certain things that
Yeah.
you expect to happen.
I mean, his motivation is his motivation, but they got rid of a lot of the stuff that was just like the stuff
Well,
that
and
Patsy
don't,
was.
and don't even go there.
yeah, the
Just-
stuff that Patsy
yeah.
was smacking his carrot over on Throwdown Thursday. That stuff's not in there, so I'm glad. But the it's just incredible. I am really blown away by how good it is, and it's 90% action.
Yeah, it's well paced. Like it just it moves at a good
It
pace.
moves at a really good. Like
Yeah.
that's got to be the fastest 2.5 hours of my whole entire life. Like I just was ready for more. Like there was not a good time to go to the bathroom or go anywhere.
so you just went in your seat.
So he brought a bedpan.
He cut a
When
hole
you-
in the
when you-
cut a hole in the seat and I put a bucket underneath.
How can you not go to the bathroom when you're drinking 2 of those huge
Well,
fucking
I only
cups?
went to the bathroom once, and then I went and got another drink.
Come on. Oh, man.
Just
I've
pissed in the
never
bucket.
gone to... I don't think I've ever gone to the bathroom.
Yeah,
during
I
a
know.
movie.
And you get a fucking Nazi about somebody checking their fucking watch during the movie at the time. I know all you Alamo Drafthouse movie hipsters, but at the end of the day,
What?
like
I've never been to
they
an
have
Alamo.
fucking delicious drinks. You drink them. You drink too many drinks, you pee. You can fucking deal with it.
Two of those
Don't
bladder
drink that
busters
much.
must. I mean,
Black Panther's still gonna fucking be there when I walk by you on the other end of it.
drinking
Fucking-
2 of those bladder busters, you must have had
Nerdy
to
asshole.
forego at least a car.
And I
payment
wish
to
I
pay for
spilled
those.
popcorn on whatever dork was complaining about it, because that's the best thing. If I have spilled popcorn on them, that's the best thing to happen to them all week. I hate fucking nerds now.
You sound like him, you sound like him going to Star Wars.
Me and El Goro had a really good talk about it. And one more thing that I will say is that this is one of the maybe not necessarily for like I can't even explain what I'm trying to say other than the fact that technically this is one of the best films that one of the best written films I've ever seen, because it has to serve a lot of masters. It has to serve the source material. It has to serve 10 years of everything that came before it. It has to do juggle all these characters. It has to it has to do the things that I was talking about today that I feel like these movies do really well, which is they encapsulate what we remember about movies growing up. Like, a lot of action scenes in films I find are
Dead air.
sorry. A lot of action films and we remember that there's a dog fight, but maybe we don't realize the nuances. We remember there's a lightsaber fight, but we remember Never Tell Me the Odds. We remember, Laugh It Up Fuzzball. We remember I'm Too Old for This, because it's almost like the equivalent of I was saying today of like WrestleMania moments. Like, we remember those, and it does a good job doing that, but it also, I've always rebelled against this being a genre on itself, because I feel like Doctor Strange, in both structure and tone, doesn't have much to do with Ant-Man. And, Civil War doesn't have much to do with the second Thor movie. Like, I don't feel like they have the same trajectory from the opening credits to the ending credits. I do feel this is a genre now, because I can't think of another cinematic experience, and if maybe somebody in the chat room or somebody here can correct me or remind me, that is, without break, has been a 10-year continuous story.
Well, no one has ever tried to do this.
No.
I mean, you have the Star Wars films, but they certainly weren't over a 10-year period, and it was every 3 years initially, and now it's every 2 years. So
Right.
there's nothing to even try to compare it to. It's never been done.
Yeah.
And it's taken the shared universe of the comic book world and putting it on screen.
Right.
And that's what it is, like it's like you said, the movies have a different feel, but you still have that crossover, and they're all
Right.
involved.
Exactly.
Like Captain America: Civil War reminded me of like a giant size issue of Cap. It made sense the Avengers would be in there, and it just
Yeah.
it just that's what it felt like.
It's
to me.
yeah, I agree 100%. And it's also interesting because they what these films also do is that they almost do what Peter Jackson did with Lord of the Rings. They made the version of this that I remember, not the version that actually was. In Civil War is interesting. I think Civil War, Winter Soldier is the one of all of them that's most like the book that's named after that. Civil War is maybe the least like, but I think as you get towards something that, I mean, Infinity Gauntlet is just kind of like a thing. You know what I mean? It's not this amazing, incredible. It's a piece of artwork as far as how great the art is.
Right.
But it's not like Sandman or anything that defined the genre. It's just a good
Sure.
superhero
Yeah.
story that
It's like an action movie,
Yeah. it was an Avengers story that eventually just got a little too big for its britches, and they gave it like a thing.
Well, that was when I just started reading Silver Surfer at that time, was when they brought Thanos back, and Ron Lim was doing the artwork, and they did the Thanos quest.
Right.
So I jumped on and I knew some of I said George Carlin, Jim Starlin, Jim Starlin cosmic characters. Like I had the death of Captain Marvel, but I didn't really know a lot about Mentor or Drax, and so it was that time, and at $1 a piece or whatever they were, you could buy every comic at that time if your parents loved you, which mine did.
Right.
So they gave me each money to do that.
Right. Same here.
And so it was at that time of reading Silver Surfer, and then this dropped. It was probably I was always a mark for the crossovers too,
Right.
like Acts of Vengeance and shit like that. But
It's interesting because if you're Jack Kirby estate or George Perez's estate, you're probably furious that Marvel has made billions of dollars in the last couple of years off fucking knockoff characters of yours. Because Thanos, admittedly, is a Darkseid knockoff.
Yeah.
Right.
And Deadpool, everybody knows that story famously. So, what I mean?
The thing is, Marvel beat them to market on the cinematic film. So now, if DC tries to do Darkseid, people are just going to say it's a Thanos ripoff,
Right.
or I guess it's hard to confuse Deadpool and Deathstroke just because they're so different personality wise. But once again, someone could say, "Oh, he's just a ripoff of Deadpool."
Deathstroke is one thing that the television show helped out because he's a big part of those shows, and I feel like he's got a fan base now, that he wouldn't have to people who aren't necessarily comic fans.
And even when he was Slade in the Titans Go cartoon.
Sure. You know what's
True, yeah.
You know what's super crazy about the whole thing to me is that I have this idea for a playthrough that I've been talking about for years, but I just haven't had the ability to figure out how to put it together and produce it and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. There is a moment there's a punchline that I've come to, not a punchline, like a correlation that I've come to between Darkseid and Thanos of how it's very meta, but I mean they exist in the same universe in this game. That someday somebody's going to come up with somehow, and it's going to break my heart that I didn't, because it can only exist in this dumb role playing game idea I have. Mm-hmm. But it's going to hurt my feelings when I see somebody else do it.
Well, I always love the line in the JLA Avengers crossover by Perez and Kurt Busiek when Hawkeye sees the Justice League for the first time. His response is, "Oh, what a bunch of Squadron Supreme knockoffs."
It's good.
And if you get that nerdy joke, then you may not have kissed a girl in a long time.
Well,
I don't get
we
it.
can continue to talk about this, but I want to get too far before we discuss what we're doing tonight. So, just to let people out there listening live and also on the podcast, let them know because we didn't mention it last week because we're so busy. We had so much going on with episode 300.
I mean, we had so much going on,
and frankly, we didn't even.
We had a lot going on too.
We were so concerned about 300 that we hadn't even planned 301. So, what we're doing for episode 301 is we're going to be talking about the film Downrange, which is the latest from, I don't know if it's Ryuhei or Ryuhei. When you guys played Street Fighter, do you call him
Ryu.
Okay. So Ryuhei Kitamura, the director of such films as No One Lives, Midnight Meat Train, and also one of Dynamo's favorite films, Versus. And so he did this new flick called Downrange, popped up on Shudder this past week, so we figured we'd check that one out. So we'll be discussing that. And then also I asked for everyone's streaming recommendations. So now it seems like maybe, you know, you went out, if you're a fan of comic book movies, you saw Infinity War, and now Infinity War is probably going to be the only thing in theaters for the next 2 months. Granted, I know there's other stuff coming, but it pretty much kicked almost every other movie out of the cineplexes. Yeah. So, if you guys are looking for something, we figured we'd do a little round of some streaming recommendations. So I may even be springing this on some of the guys here in the room. But, find some. You guys all have tablets. Aries has his new table. He's got a tablet with him. You got phones. So look up on your favorite streaming service and pick a streaming film that you want to recommend to the people. And then I think we also have some voicemail from people who are sending recommendations as well. Yeah. If you're listening live and have not got yours in, there's still a little bit of time. We do have a good amount of voicemail because we also have to play catch up because we missed a couple of voicemail from last week because, once again, I think we played 23 or 24.
Yeah, very sorry about that.
And there was 2 that were missed. So that's all on me. That's my bad.
Don't take it.
Poor producing, that's all.
Hey.
whoa.
That's
I get
to
a
do.
high volume of email, and as I was going through, I missed a couple. So I apologize to those folks, and we'll get to them this week, and then we'll also play people's streaming recommendations if you have one. Please feel free to send it in. And if you guys, anyone listening out there, ever wants to send feedback, there's a few ways you can do so. You can send an email or voicemail, but as always, we always want to hear your voices. So if we prefer voicemail, you can go ahead and record it on your phone. Let's make a voice memo, voice message. Most smartphones these days have a multitude of ways you can record your voice. So just go ahead, use an app, record a voice message, and then go ahead and email it to podcast@trickortreatradio.com. Or you can just go to trickortreatradio.com. And right on the front page there, you're going to see a button that says Contact. Click on that, and there'll be a little drop down that says Email or Voicemail. And you can do it right through our website. So we always love hearing from you guys. And last week, you guys came out in force, and it was fucking awesome. We heard from so many of you, and it was an absolute blast and a pleasure to hear from you all. So
Awesome.
I apologize to the people that we missed last week. We missed. Humble Eddie was kind of buried in the email. I think he sent it a little bit earlier in the week, if I'm not mistaken. So we have Humble Eddie that we're going to play, and also we have Andy Triefenbach from Destroy the Brain.
That dude's the fucking best.
And Andy sent one as well, and we're going to make sure we get those played this time. So yes. So thanks for your patience on those, and I apologize if you guys went to go listen back and you're like, hey, where's my voice message? Well, there you go. Blame it on Wolfie.
Far as podcasters go, Andy might be the last one on. Oh, Andy and Big Will, I think, might be the last ones that we've never had on my list.
Well,
I'm gonna make that happen.
Let's make it happen. Yeah.
We've had Freddie from Night of Living
Podcast. Yep.
Like on for like a review.
It's been a while,
but it's been quite a while. Cheerleaders Must Die.
Was that the one that Patsy was on, or no? That was
that was All the Boys Love Man.
Oh yeah, I get those.
How
confused.
Can you fucking forget?
I get those two confused.
Oh my god,
those movies.
I lost my lucky ball and chain.
So that's what's up for tonight. And once again, I usually say this, but sometimes I forget. But if you guys haven't already, subscribe to us. We're on. You could hear us on a multitude of platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, of course. That's probably the most widely used one as far as I can tell from all the stats. But we're also on Spotify. We're on Stitcher. We're on Google Play, and then we're also on the Satchel Podcast Player. And if you guys haven't, subscribe to us and give us a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. That's the most important one. If you haven't done so, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. Let folks know what you like about the show, what you like about us. and we'd appreciate it. I'm actually going to look right now. I don't think we had any new reviews this week, but I'll check just to be sure.
Thank you.
Oh, you want to know, Raven Shadow? Maybe I'll let you read it if we do. How about that?
Nice.
Remember,
Be
there is
happy.
something you're supposed to read. Yeah.
Oh, somebody's supposed to read?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
No, we don't have any new ones. Sorry, Raven Shadow. So, all right, let's see. We got a lot of chatter going on in the chat room. And let's see. Humble Eddie says, sounds like a Robert Altman superhero movie when we're talking about Infinity War. I guess.
It's not. That's an interesting and not inaccurate comparison. Like something like Ready to Wear. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Julie Meow Meow says Midnight Meat Train is being discussed tonight. And no, we're not discussing that. We're discussing the film by the a new film by the director of Midnight Meat Train. And she says that's one of the first Clive Barker stories I ever read.
Me too.
And Slegos wants us to do a spoiler episode for Infinity War.
No.
We're not going to do that, just because we haven't done the Marvel films, and we got to keep it. There's too many. That's too much.
Yeah,
There's lots of other podcasts doing that.
And
so.
not for nothing. Like I've been on like 11 of them over the
Yeah,
past couple
yeah.
of days. So with the good, if you're not sick
can
of
track 'em
hearing
down.
me talk about Infinity War, then you have a much stronger constitution for me and Infinity War. Then.
And 20 minutes ago, Humble Eddie says Ares, god of IKEA, for the furniture.
He built that.
Well, no, but it does kind of like flat pack like IKEA.
Oh.
Folds right down.
Now, did you get the tablet free with the table, or vice versa?
Yeah, buy a tablet, get a table.
Yeah.
And Leanna's here. She says, "Hey, I'm here." She said, "Just don't make Darkseid CGI, and it won't be a problem."
Well, guess what? I got G News and I got B News.
Yeah.
Thanos, by the way, looked fucking awesome
Yeah, he did look good.
for a CGI rendered, maybe the best CGI rendered character ever.
Better than
Gollum, yes.
no, I wasn't gonna say him.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, yes.
No, I was gonna say.
Do not say Steppenwolf because I'll come over there.
I was gonna say Jar Jar. Jar Jar Binks.
Yes. Though I've only ever seen that movie once, so I have no recollection of.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
I saw it twice.
Me be regressive be.
Julie Meow Meow says, "Is Psycho Pike streaming? I want that to be mine." I don't know. I don't think it is Julie. Leanna says, "You got to admit though, Thanos does have a scrotum chin. He does a little bit.
I don't know.
It's a little wrinkly."
My scrotum doesn't look like that.
Yeah, it's a
Mine
squirtle
does.
Titan.
And Creepy Girl just popped in. She says, "Hey guys, what's crack-a-lackin'?"
Hey.
Hey,
At
what?
least the crack-a-lackin'.
Hey, what, MZ?
Hay's for horses and also for cows.
No, you're
Huh?
saying hi to Creepy Girl.
Oh, hey, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Monster Zero,
Yes, sir.
you need more hair.
I need more hair.
Yeah. Because you look disproportionate now.
What?
You
because
did
of
get
this?
your haircut, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just your head looks too big, small for your body.
Nah, look,
No,
you look
this,
you look
no,
fine.
this is
No,
this
like
is
from here up, he looks very handsome. He just
Yeah, you
looks
look fine.
no, this is the dickhead sergeant's look. You know.
Oh, is that what you picked?
That's
Is
the high and tight.
I said,
Yeah.
yeah, give me the dickhead cop look, and that's what I got.
That's
Jesus
good.
Christ.
Johnny Bench. Oh man, that's not good. That's not a good look.
No,
I mean,
that's
it's a
what I
good look,
wanted.
but that's not a good name.
Yeah, the dickhead cop.
Dickhead cop look.
What do you get against cops?
I don't have anything against cops.
I know I have a friend who's a police officer that listens every week.
Yeah. Well, kind of like the teacher from Beavis and Butthead.
Or Chet.
Yeah, Chet.
Hey, but
Or
by the-
Principal McVicker, I think.
if that lady
Beavis and Butthead, you bastard.
if that lady gave you elephant balls, they'd be smaller.
No, it's the guy's like, kick me in the Jimmy.
By the way,
Okay.
have any of you guys? Oh shit! I completely just lost what I was about to say. I was trying to get the break ready, and I'd completely lost it. All
Have
right,
any of us had elephant balls?
Yes. Have any of you had elephant balls?
One time.
They were delicious.
It was.
I-
I just remembered.
Try living
Have-
with elephant balls every day, pal.
Shut up! I'm gonna forget again. Have you guys seen the Karate Kid?
Oh no,
Cobra Kai.
I've heard a lot of positive shit on it though.
because I think it hit YouTube Red this week.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, well, New Hopes are last Wednesday.
Oh, so you get a sneak peek?
Oh yeah, they were playing Karate Kid and
No, it was Showcase. The drive-in did what you're talking about.
yeah, they were playing Karate Kid.
But they did
They
did
played
the
like the first two episodes.
Yeah, it was on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock last week.
I would have been there, but instead I was here.
Yeah, said it was good. I'm curious.
I definitely want to check it out. You're bi-curious.
One time that happened, but it seems
that's
like
Mars's gimmick.
yeah. It seems
I'm not curious, folks.
you're BioWare.
I'm biolantic.
He's bioluminescent.
Biolantic. Godzilla's gonna fight me.
It seems like they're making Johnny the face.
I know. I
Yeah, they
like
are.
that. I love that.
Right?
That's what I want to see. I want to see Billy Zabka turn face in all three of his bully movies.
Oh,
Karate Kid,
yeah.
Just One of the Guys, and Back to School. That's what I want to
Is
see.
he really a bully and just one of the guys though? He's just kind of a
he is.
d-bag.
Well, an argument can be made that LaRusso is the villain in the Karate
Yeah,
Kid.
yeah, I've seen the video on that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And it's
argument.
it's an interesting look
It
because
makes complete sense.
it makes complete fucking sense.
Yeah, but he was beaten up first though.
No.
No, watch
He
the
threw
video,
the
you'll
first
understand.
He threw the first punch, yes, but what happened when
Watch the video; it'll explain everything.
Is it 45
Don't
fucking
ask-
minutes? Is
don't
it
ask.
movie
No,
Bob?
no,
It's 48.
Oh, it's
No,
48
don't-
minutes?
just don't ask us any questions. Just watch the video; it'll answer all your questions.
I got lots
Trust
of
me.
questions.
I want to go to the drive.
Go ahead, ask your question. You lost it.
I
didn't you?
forgot it because he's fucking jibber-jabbing in one ear,
Even though I'm jibber jabbing,
and Johnny's turning knobs, confusing me.
What knob is he turning?
he's not turning anything.
I want to go home so bad. Like I've never wanted to go home more.
Why do you want to go home?
Because I left. First of all, Yoshitatsu was about to fight Marufuji, and even though I know that was going to be disappointing, I just finished Naito versus Suzuki. I'm all fucking pumped up, and I come here and
And all the wind is taken out of your
Yeah.
action sack.
right.
Oh.
So she went to the drive-in without you?
No. No, forget about the driving that he's talking about. Showcase Blackstone did it on last Wednesday.
One of the guys I work with went.
Yeah.
They said that the film broke, so they
really?
got free passes to another movie.
So they didn't see Karate Kid?
I guess not.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I have a story about that actually. So when I went to go see Infinity War, just as the credits were about to end, the lights flickered and the power in the entire theater went off. So I missed the stinger at the end.
That's how strong a movie this is. It
Did you
used
get
up all the power.
Did you
in
get
the
a free
theater.
movie?
I did, but I have Movie Pass, so I was like, well, I don't need those. And then they were like, oh, we have 3D ones, so I just ran and grabbed 2 3D ones
Yeah, give them to
because
somebody.
you can't use.
Give them to me. I don't have Movie Pass.
I ain't giving you shit.
How much would
You give me a fucking hard time. Give me the fucking Movie Passes, you douche.
I was going to get Movie Pass with part of my tax return.
I don't know if I'd do it now because they're changing it.
Really?
You can't go see movies more than once now, which sucks because what if I wanted to go see Infinity War again just to see the end?
Right.
I can't now.
They keep
And
tabs
then-
on what movie you watch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
And for a while they switched it so you could only go see 4 a month as opposed to 1 a day.
Really?
And apparently they're now going back on that. They're really like fucking with people. So
Yeah, I'm
it's
not
still
gonna-
a good deal, but I don't know. Like they're doing some shifty shit.
Aren't some folks getting grandfathered in?
Well, I paid for a year like a few months ago, so I better be fucking grandfathered in.
Yeah. Well, Jakey is bringing me on a trip to cuddle him, so that's what I'm using my tax return for.
No pass required.
Up out of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bury myself in that good smelling beard. Experience
Jesus
the heaven.
Christ.
I don't know. We'll see if he listens anymore. I'm gonna give him a back rub, but I'm not gonna use my hands. It's gonna be a good time.
Leanna says,
I'm gonna miss you though, Johnny.
nah, you're not going to miss. You're not going to be gone that long.
Yeah, but I like to. You're my traveling companion.
Oh.
We share a
One-
room together.
one
Fight
tr-
you out.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not going. One wrestling trip is enough for me a year, I think.
Well, oh no, that'll be next year, I guess. I was gonna say we're going to Romania next year. So.
Yeah, but that's not a trip. That's like a fucking drive
Yeah,
down the
that'll
road.
be easy.
It's in Romania?
No, it's in New York, New Jersey. But compared to fucking 25 hours away in New Orleans, it's a fucking
Yeah. Well, I think that has
drive
less,
down the road.
Plus, you watch like 9 million wrestling shows. Like,
only 7.
I'm going to see one wrestling show.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna be nestled in Jakey's bosom for,
yeah, it's gonna be good.
for 7 hours.
Oh, I suck.
It's gonna be good. He holds hands good. We held hands during the Zack Sabre match last time.
Fuck.
Well, hey, it's true. Yeah, so WrestleMania is in New York next year, so you guys should go.
I've been to WrestleMania.
Well, we're not gonna go to fucking WrestleMania. Don't
No,
get
go
us
all
wrong.
the other stuff. Yeah.
We'll go watch the fucking Invisible Man win again, and
Leanna says, she quotes, Raven, you're bi-curious? One time it happened. And she says, was that a slip?
Let's go to commercial.
Doesn't count if it's a family member.
Oh, whoa, that's
whoa,
fucking
that's
weird.
gross.
What?
That's weird.
Cecil says, I think I found a recommendation. Evil Corny asks if Raven Shadow saw Infinity War. We talked about that, and he has not.
No, I will. It was 1 week. It'll be out-
Don't talk to Corny. Seen it 4 times.
Well, Corny, it's got a lot of earn time.
Did it already make like $700 million or something like that in the theater?
Made, I think, $650 million in the opening weekend.
Jesus Christ.
It's the largest opening ever.
Everything
Yeah,
else is.
I would say so.
So that's probably the first movie in quite a while where, like, after maybe ever that cost that much. Where now everything else that this film makes is candy.
Right. So apparently only myself and James Cameron are the only ones who haven't seen this fucking movie.
James Cameron. I was thinking James Gunn. Though. Yeah.
James
Kind of
Cameron.
makes you. Now, this kind of make you forget about Black Panther after a while? Like,
What do you mean?
I mean, as far as the success of this movie, where it's what, $650 million, you said?
Yeah, that's
And
worldwide.
and before that, wasn't it Black Panther
No,
that had
no,
the biggest
no.
opening weekend? Or
No,
No.
not even in the ballpark. You're getting confused because Black Panther was in
Probably by like one of the ones I did see was largest opening ever for a
Superhero.
African American director.
yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm.
I mean, Wolfie and I to pat ourselves on the back and got a lot of flack for it that night. You two talked about the cultural importance of Black Panther before it came out, and it looks like even our fucking expectations were exceeding that. When I went and saw Black Panther, there were people in traditional African garb that didn't work for the theater that did like a fucking was that with you, Black Panther?
No.
Yeah, these people. I'm still want to make sure. I thought I dreamt this until we went the other day, and some of those people were there, but they didn't do traditional African drums before the movie.
You say drums?
Yeah, before the movie. Yeah, they were right up front. It was like I thought Paul Simon was going to come out.
Yes.
It's like,
Oh Jesus!
but yeah, it was crazy. People were really, rightfully so, and it was good too. I wish it was. I wish it was a little better with how much it resonated with people and how happy people were that it was happening. You know, because we'll never know what that's like. Like our whole entire life, we could look up and say, "I look like Superman. I look like Batman."
Right,
You know,
right.
I'm no Dark Knight, sir.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, though, I mean, there's a bunch of bad Francis Ford Coppola movies that have all
Raven
your
Shadow
people
just
in it.
doesn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he just doesn't get it. No, but I mean,
No, I get it. It's just, I never compared myself to Superman.
You're waiting for the Fast Tony.
yeah. You know.
yeah, but here's the
movie.
thing: even if you compared yourself to something physically, even if you like, there's Four Brush Man. I'm like that.
Yeah, like
There's-
Nomad.
yeah,
I
there's-
relate to.
There's one of
Nightman.
Power Pack.
Ralph Dibny.
Yeah,
Dead man.
One
Deadman.
of the kids
Plastic
in Power
Man.
Pack. Yeah, think about that. All those superheroes are Caucasian, and if they were drawn by John Byrne, they probably have blonde hair and blue eyes. Like it is important, and I don't think that Black Panther was as good of a movie as I think it resonated for people. But law of averages and the way these things work is that the first one of these is pretty good, and the second one is fucking awesome. So I think Black Panther 2, if with how good Black Panther 1 was, could be one of the best superhero movies ever. Even though it was more of a James Bond movie, in my opinion. But Black Panther, awesome in Infinity War. Yes. Totally great. The best, though, hands down, Captain America.
Do you like him with a beard?
Oh, man, I left him with a beard. Did when Captain America appeared in your theater, did he get the Road Warrior pop?
No.
People wasn't our fucking audience awesome? Well, I say
No.
awesome. Like,
A
he's probably
little
pissed
obnoxious.
off. Yeah, no. They fucking cheered, like, he got a Road Warrior pop.
What's a Road Warrior pop?
So when the Road Warriors started wrestling in, I think that they hit Carolina first. They came out a few times, and not a lot of people had music and whatever, and like they would like just they booked it correctly on TV. They came up and beat people up for real because they weren't very good wrestlers. So when they started hitting arenas, people were like fucking throwing babies in the air, and like it was just like, holy shit, the Road Warriors are here, and they like who in I mean, if you can imagine Hulk Hogan being an anomaly and not the rule of how pro wrestlers looked, like imagine those two fucking guys walking down, you know, the Mid-South Coliseum or the Omni or, you know, one of these other Southern Territory places, and like it was just supposedly, you know, you hear about like the applause that Hulk Hogan got and whatever else, but like they say, and guys who were there like Jim Cornette, you know, so, you know, I wish I could do a good corny, but he says I was at concerts, I've been here, I've seen Elvis, I've seen this, I've seen that, and the other thing, but I've never fucking heard anything like the Road Warriors coming out. He was saying on one podcast that the Road Warriors would hit the ring, and in the ring, forget about the PA, you couldn't hear the ring announcer announcing people, and you couldn't talk to the other people that he was like managing at the time. It's big. So Road Warrior pop equals a ludicrous pop, and I've never seen a movie get a pro wrestling or athletic pop like that. So it was like as loud equivocally, because there wasn't as many people there as when I was at a Raw once and Shawn Michaels showed up unannounced. So it was pretty wild. I hope.
I don't know that the biggest one I might have ever heard is when Mick Foley won the world title.
Oh, that was insane.
MZ was there, right?
Yeah. I was there.
I was there.
Oh, you were there too?
Yeah.
I never heard a pop like that. I mean, outside of Steve Austin coming out first.
This was more, I think.
It was crazy.
Oh no, it was huge.
But
when Austin came out, the pop was huge.
Yeah, but here's the thing with
then when
Austin, that was like a Pavlov dog thing. I think that when Foley won, it was very sincere because nobody thought that fucking Mick Foley was going to win that.
Yeah.
Like,
sure, sure. I didn't go to that event thinking that Foley was going to win the title.
No.
I don't think any of us did.
In a non-live Raw in Worcester.
Right.
It was on Raw. It was on TV.
But it wasn't live.
Yeah,
No,
that was the one where they famously
announced it,
spoiled
yeah.
it on
Yeah,
WCW.
and that's where like 800,000 viewers switched from
Yeah.
WCW to WWF.
Yeah.
Because we saw it was a Saturday night show.
Which that totally backfired on
Yeah.
him.
That's one of the wrestling
That's
urban
great.
legend things that, I mean, even the fucking Montreal Screwjob, everybody that's involved was like, all right, yeah, we knew. We fucked Brett, right?
Yeah.
Like, though I don't agree. I think Brett fucked Brett still. But if Tony Schiavone said that on his own, or if he was told to say that, is still one of those things which, to the best of my knowledge, like both parties, Bischoff and Tony Schiavone, are still blaming the other one. So
Right. Yeah.
So I like Tony Schiavone because he's funny and old.
Yeah, but Bischoff had the final word at that point then.
Yeah,
So
right.
I would say it all lands on Bischoff.
Yeah. But that was before we knew how it worked, so people were like pissed at Schiavone for a long time. We didn't know that commentators
Oh, sure.
were. It wasn't like fucking NCW. There was nobody telling fucking Lord Alfred Days what to say.
All right, well, I want to kind of wind this up because we're getting close to the hour here, so I want to start talking about this flick. Yay! So if you guys want to help support us, there's a few ways you can do so. Head on over to trickortreatradio.com. On the right-hand side, you're going to see an Amazon logo. You click on that, brings you to Amazon, puts in our affiliate link, and everything you purchase in that session gets attributed to us. Doesn't cost them any extra, Raven Shadow.
But it helps keep the lights on.
That's right. So if you guys want to help out, you shop on Amazon anyways. Just use our link. And if you use Amazon all the time and you forget to go to our link, what you can do is just go to our page and find the logo, right-click on it, and save copy link, and then put that into your browser, and then bookmark that. And if you bookmark that, that means every single time you go to Amazon, it'll pull up our code. So that's one way to do it, so you don't have to go to trickortreatradio.com every single time. And also, if you guys want to, we have some merch for sale. You want some digital content, you want some premium content, go to trickortreatradio.com, click on the merch button, and then it's going to bring you to our merch page. You can buy some stuff right on there. Greatest Hits, Trick or Treat Radio 1, 2, 3, and a bunch of other stuff. T-shirts, buttons, things like that. So go ahead and give it a look. And Raven Shadow.
Yes.
You sit down. Gonna watch this movie called Downrange.
Called
right?
Downrange, yes.
Downrange.
Downrange.
Down on the range.
Where the downrange goes.
Oh.
What do you do to prepare for a movie?
I get fucking anxiety,
Like
Johnny,
this.
because I'm having a hot fucking time.
Yeah, the first time you ever used Shudder.
I know. So I wasn't sure how to work that. I didn't
He's
know
shuddering
where-
over
I
Shudder.
was Shudder me timbers. It was fucking hard times.
I love it. Aries is just fucking like
You don't give
leaving
a
you
fuck
high and
anymore.
dry.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got to go comb his beard.
He's like, the longer it goes, the better for me.
So, here, I have a question.
Yeah, there you go.
Why don't you come over my house then?
Well, he figured it out.
Yeah, figure
I
it out.
know, but I mean, you wouldn't have any trouble. You could just come watch it and actually
like
be
that, but it's
around
also-
people.
It is like a half-hour drive, right? 20 minutes at least.
But it's not conducive for my schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like if I get home,
Not conducive to my schedule.
it's not conducive. I got shit to do. I got a
But
house
what I'm
to
saying
run.
is, I would have stopped doing what I was doing so you could have watched it.
That'd have been very nice. I would have liked that.
It's not nice. It's not good for my schedule. I like to watch it the day of when possible because it's fresh. But I would have watched it the other day.
I appreciate that. I didn't do that.
I know.
But I did watch it, and then I get excited because I'm thinking about next week. What's next week? Well, it's next Saturday is May 5th. At the time I was watching this movie, and there's going to be an awesome rock and roll show I want to go to at
Ralph's Chadwick Square
Ralph's
Diner.
Chadwick Square Diner. Thank
Wow.
you, Dynamo, on Grove Street in beautiful Worcester. It's going to be Deb's big 55 birthday party, and it's going to be nuts because the Rationals are playing, the Black Souls, the Evil Streaks,
Nice.
yes, but not with you, and many more. It's going to be 21 plus, $10 cover. See Myra, the Rev.
And I am working, but please go say give my dearest friend Deb Beaudre a birthday hug. She's she's probably one of the classiest promoters around because you know what? When she sees a Dynamire event, even if she's running an event, she posts it and promotes it. So she's a class act. She always helps out. I love Deb. Everyone who's known her has had I've had a crush on Deb since before I was old enough to get into clubs and see the shows she would book. So
I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
And as I get ready,
Well, before you say that, actually, hold on.
Oh, good.
Leanna says, what is Raven Shadow's mysterious schedule that requires an ancient and overstuffed wallet?
there's a lot of complex things going on there. There's a lot of driving time and stuff and weird schedules and weird hours and things with molecular structures.
tell you this: don't try to make him go 1/4 of a mile in the opposite direction if he's already going in that other direction because he'll fucking break down.
No, listen, there's a
He'll
series
turn
of
into a
things
broken
to do.
computer.
Listen, sometimes I have to go someplace to go back, take the dog out, get him ready, get changed, go someone else's house, another house, drive around. It's a lot of driving.
Raven Shadow's a man of ritual.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about moving closer to here?
Why would he move? He has a fucking house.
Who's talking to you? Shut up.
Why would he move closer? You
I am
idiot?
not talking to you.
Well,
Shut up.
I'm gonna lose my house and have to move in with Raven.
That's
Shadow.
fair, yeah.
Why don't you have Raven Shadow and the New Hope move in with you guys?
Part of that's a great idea.
Be much better than having privacy.
Yeah, who needs that, right?
Yeah.
You could picture Dynamo. Knock it off! Knock it off!
Call upstairs. Knock it off.
And with that, I strap on.
I'm not getting any. Fuck you if you think you are. Knock it off!
Do you love a scary story? Do you love to dance? The Big Scary Monster Haunts at Midnight is a collection of dark songs about sex, love, death, revenge, and the end of the world. Brought to you by the world's greatest monster hunting electroshock band, the Deadites.
Thank you guys for having me on. It's a blast. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
And, Trick or Treat Radio, man. That's where it's at. That's the new Fangoria Radio is Trick or Treat Radio.
No.
Don't say that.
You really put us under.
It's like swearing in church. I
You
don't know.
just jinxed us.
Yeah. you put a lot on our shoulders just now.
Well, we can strive for
You
greatness.
guys are awesome.
Yeah,
you really
just
are. You got
say
a
that again
great show.
slowly.
I will be Burble.
What's up, y'all? It's me, the Yeti. Telling all the ladies that they couldn't be more fine and that we should knock those boots like Frankenstein. When I want to get my nerd on, I go to Facebook and I go to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. That's the place where I get to talk about all the hip new horror movies, all the cool comics,
Like comics.
RPGs, video games, you name it, we're talking about shit on there. And you could not be any cooler if you were the coolest kid in school. Be the first kid on your block to swing their cock over at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search for Trick or Treat Radio, ask to join, and it's like Nerd Nirvana, baby, without the shotgun blast. This is the Yeti, signing out. See you at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group.
Follow us on Twitter at The Deadites, TheDeadites.com, and TrickOrTreatRadio.com.
I'm Mike Allred. For the gidgiest listening experience, you gotta check out Trick or Treat Radio.
All right, we're back on Trick or Treat Radio.
You're gonna keep it up, aren't you? Whatever, I don't give a shit. Fuck all you
I
guys.
gotta wait for Raven Chow to come back.
I thought he was having a
Did you say-
stroke in the hallway.
No, he's having
Say something
smoke.
to him? No? Okay.
You gotta talk into the mic.
You can't. Well, he's eating.
When isn't he?
You gonna make fun of my soda consumption again?
Maybe.
Have all the donuts in the world. Okay. Oh, boy. Oh,
Yeah, I noticed you weren't doing what I told you to do.
I only have this soda and there's a water here.
Oh, wow,
In the mic,
magic.
in the mic.
Says the guy who has a bottle of whiskey in front of him.
Where did my sodas go?
When you finish the water.
Wow.
Raven Chow, sit down, sit down. We're gonna talk about something.
Are we really going to stretch this out?
Well, people didn't hear it. Now, MZ's going to ask you a question. This is a rumor he heard about. It's a rumored spoiler about Infinity War, but don't worry, it's not gonna make you mad.
Okay.
Tell him what you heard.
Well, I was talking to these.
Talking to me and Mars.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to them about a potential spoiler that I saw online, and I wanted to ask him if it was true, and I know that you didn't want to know anything about it, so we waited till you left the room so I could ask
It's
them.
okay, Raven Shadow.
Right,
He can say it. You're not going to get mad.
Okay.
And so I asked them if Batman got killed.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
He legit did.
Is that what that was? I heard it was like fucking Def Comedy Jam up in here when I was outside. I picture motherfuckers be like, Jesus Christ.
What the fuck do I know about comic books?
Yeah,
or
well,
even factions, for that matter. I mean, one superhero is another superhero, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, was it the time that Leader 1 was killed by Megatron?
Leader 1 was never killed by Megatron. Although I think he should have been.
Yeah, he's a go-bot.
He's a useless bastard. He's a waiter now.
He's a waiter now.
Delicious water.
He drank that water.
You didn't even last a day, did you? With that?
I didn't even try.
Oh,
Aries is sabotaging me, and now you guys are gonna have a bad show, and it's all Aries' fault.
Don't get mad at don't get mad at Dynamo. He's aware of his limitations. Let him live with it.
No. I simply tried to make an agreement with him that for every soda he drinks, he needs to drink an equal water.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Well, I didn't.
But
Part of an
without-
agreement is agreeing, and I didn't agree.
I thought the real killer was you just quitting soda altogether.
No.
Even though I agreed that I would try to quit smoking if you quit soda.
Oh, now we go.
Well, how are you gonna manage to make sure that neither one of you?
It would have to be an honor system. On the honor system.
I might
right,
show
all
up
right.
smelling like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, the smell of Dr.
I
Pepper
ain't
can
smelling your
disappear a
breath.
hell of a lot more than the smell of nicotine.
Yeah, it would be easier to learn if I didn't quit. But
Yeah. I mean, you have to scrub
We'll
that shit out of your beard and
we'll
everything.
take Mars's blood sugar level. Oh my God, he's fucking downing that water. I've never seen him drink water so fast. Even after getting off stage.
Have you ever thought about purchasing any of that Mio water flavoring shit?
He used to drink that shit all the time.
It's not terrible.
What's wrong with water? Why do you have to flavor water?
I put Mio in my Dr. Pepper sometimes.
Yeah, put some chocolate syrup in there. That'll be good. Nestle Quick.
You don't understand where I am right now.
You're in Castle Wolfenstein, right next to MZ.
You know why I didn't want to die of cancer?
Because you want to die of diet soda.
Because someone told me that I was going to die. Right? Now that I'm back to trying to destroy myself on my own volition, I am back to wanting to.
Yeah.
Mars, when you die, you know what you're going to see in wherever you go?
Where?
You're going to see this looking back at you.
I hope so. Oh, wait. I thought it was Professor J.
He's doing a play.
It's
Ray's doing a play.
No, Captain America's doing a play. He plays a cop. Hey, he has the same haircut as you.
nah,
not really.
Nah.
The side's got to be shaved down a little bit more. Then
Just spike it up.
then we're getting close.
If you had the same haircut,
Plus, I'd have to grow some fucking awesome porno stash.
You should be.
You sort of did before those Jack Manson photos.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that was starting to grow. Still a little thin, but
I thought you were gonna shave your head to look like Larry Fine.
All right. Well, we got a movie to talk.
I wanted to.
Don't shave your head.
We got a movie to talk about. We're going to talk about Downrange while Mars downs the fucking water. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
He's look at this guy.
He's sucking down the
Do
bottle. I
not
think.
spit that out.
Easy killing and a suck in the bottle.
Yo, I'm gonna date you, son.
Who's got the DSLs now, bitch?
I'll tell you
He's
what.
got WSLs, water sucking lips.
I'll tell you what. You don't. Just like I didn't get girls on my look, you didn't think I got guys. I got a reputation to uphold.
Wow, that was exciting. Stage in the middle. Wow, you really got passion.
He's hugging his Dr. Pepper now. Oh my God. All right, so Downrange, this flick from 2017, just got a release on Shudder. It's a Shudder exclusive, and it is directed by Ryuhei Kitamura and written by Ryuhei Kitamura and Joey O'Brien, and it stars Kelly Conair, Stephanie Pearson, Rod Hernandez, Anthony Curlew, Alexa Yeames, and Jason Tobias.
Yes.
And Aeon Boyd as the rifleman. And the synopsis, well, actually, it's 90 minutes long. It is a thriller. And the synopsis: stranded at the side of the road after a tire blowout, a group of friends become targets for an enigmatic sniper. That's what we got. It's what they provided us with the synopsis.
Yes, they did.
But it's a pretty simplistic flick. I mean, that pretty much describes it. So before we get into the film, I want to talk about Ryohei Kitamura. Mars, when Versus came out, you would not shut up about that movie.
Actually, thanks to Sages Comics in New London, Connecticut, I would not shut up about Versus about 19 months before it came out.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Yeah. That guy was making bootlegs before I knew they were bootlegs.
Jesus. So you're telling everyone about this movie that no one can see.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
I think it was pretty close to, not perfect in the way like some other films maybe, or even some other action films that we've seen over the years, but it was perfect in its simplicity. In fact, I think when he very egotistically altered it in the Ultimate Versus cut, I think he really fucked it up. But
okay.
I think Versus is an action masterpiece left on its own.
Oh, it's an excellent film.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long ass time.
Yeah, same here. Then he went on to do Midnight Meat Train and also No One Lives,
Which we reviewed,
which
yeah.
we did discuss a while ago, at least 200 some odd-ish episodes ago, if not more than that.
Did Midnight Meat Train have Bullet-Tooth Tony in it?
I've never seen Midnight Meat Train, so I don't know.
It had you mean Juggernaut?
Yeah, Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Vinnie Jones.
Vinnie Jones, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yep. It wasn't I don't know, like, as adaptions go, I don't think it was a bad adaption. I think it showed that some things just don't
Translate.
Not everything is lateral like that, you know. I'd like to hear what Julie or someone else that has seen both thinks.
In reference to MZ's spoiler question, Liana says only Captain Picard and Gandalf make it out
Yes.
of the Infinity War. And Cecil says, I'm leaving on that midnight meat train to Georgia. Leaving on that midnight meat train to Georgia. All right, so this flick, obviously, I think we've, for the most part, have enjoyed Ryohei's work in the past. And this just kind of popped up on, I got an email on like Friday and says, our new film. And then that made me realize that we hadn't picked a film for this week. And I was like, well, there you go. There's our pick. And, because we've liked Ryohei's work in the past, and I thought this looked cool. Plus, on Shudder, I'd like to do more films that just pop onto Shudder. So we figured we'd give it a view. And I gotta say, so this is a very simplistic film. Yes. As Raven Shadow might say, and maybe he will say, so maybe I'm stealing his thunder here, but this could take place on a stage.
Yeah.
Sort of.
That'd be kind of interesting.
Don't
actually.
you kind of like films that kind of like one setting?
Oh, I am a huge mark for some reason. I don't know if I know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it definitely
It's Reservoir Dogs. It's to a lower extent Not a Living Dead. That sort of deal.
Well, yeah, even like the Big Kahuna with a well, he might have been a demon. We didn't know he was a demon. Kevin Spacey.
A diamond.
A diamond.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Hateful Eight could have been a stage.
Oh, sure.
Sure. Stage production.
There you go. So Raven Shadow's a big mark for this kind of thing, and so I mean, obviously, it would have been difficult with some of the shots that they had, but. But that's pretty much what happens. We open up on these, was it 6 of them? 6 college kids.
6.
It's weird because at first you don't know who knows who, because it's like they're exchanging numbers, and I'm like, okay, why are these folks like riding together? They don't know each other, but I guess it was like a carpool, like maybe from college to home or something like that. That's kind of what I was able to ascertain.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you didn't really know that until the girl was posting on social media.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, what, you want me to send you the photo? What's your number? Everyone put your number in. And I just thought it was weird that kids nowadays, I would imagine, know everyone's number that they're friends with. So, I just thought it was a little weird that they didn't have that. So,
well, it was even the comment about, are they creeps? So someone was like, no, they're cool. They paid for their own gas. Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think only a handful of, there were 6 of them. I think 2 were a couple. Yeah, 1 was a couple. And then they kind of knew someone else, and I think that was pretty much it. And I think everyone else was kind of running solo. And so they were, heading down the road, this desert highway with very little traffic on it. All of a sudden, they get a blowout. Tire, explodes. They pull over and check it out, and then they start changing the tire, doing that whole bit. I thought a lot of the dialogue during this was really awkward and forced, and I don't know, I just got a really kind of weird, jagged sort of feel from what was going on.
I think it might have had a lot to do with are you talking about
just the dialogue between the characters?
Okay, because I'm thinking that might have a play in the fact that these guys aren't really friends, that they're just carpooling together. So they, like we were talking about, they don't really know each other, so they don't really know how to interact with one another.
I think that...
Because I felt that way, too.
I think it goes further than that, though.
I think that people who were better actors lasted long. I don't know how else to say it. Like I think that the stars...
The better actor you are, the longest...
I think there was
a chance to stay in the film.
Like a big, like a lot of films have, low budget films will have like a curve, like a slope of from like people who have bit parts. Like sometimes you'll have like somebody who's just a fucking waitress for like one scene. And you're like, that was like the fucking some bad acting. Like she makes herself stand out in the wrong way. In this one, I think that it just kind of dropped off a cliff, and it didn't, Maybe it was simply for that reason that
the interesting thing is I thought that we'll just flat out say some people die in this, and I think the first two people that died I thought were going to be the stars or the main protagonists.
The guy that looked like Jared Padalecki there.
Yeah.
Like that definitely gave me like Janet Leigh, Drew Barrymore vibes in the sense where I thought that was
because he was clearly a threat.
I thought that was an intention. I don't think
anyone would oppose a threat.
Yeah, no one was a threat
in this situation.
But in terms of a physical look,
sure. But I just don't think it had anything to do with who went or anything like that.
I think if anything, it's because he understood something. He found out something was wrong first.
Right.
But I don't think that. I think that. History shows generally that a sniper's mentality, especially someone who's trained, like that not even God could get between them and that, 16 inches of barrel.
Ooh.
So,
right, yeah.
So I don't think that I think that he might have done it. If you're looking into more psyche than they gave the character in the movie, I think it might have been from like a reverse bully point of view. You know what I mean? Like that this guy was like a... it's almost, in a way, you could put some sort of Monster Zero versus his class, say, like pathos on this character that they didn't give because he arguably killed the two most outwardly good-looking people first.
Right.
So after this, and I don't want to get too. I don't want to give the whole entire thing away. I mean, like it's a very simple setup. So. They go to change the tire, and then all of a sudden, two of them get picked off by a sniper. And one of the things I thought was weird is that you couldn't hear those gunshots. They kind of addressed it later, but I still thought that was weird. That he was using like the gunman was using like a muzzle.
A suppressor.
Like there would be no reason for that. There would be no reason for the muzzle.
Well, that's fine and good, but why not keep using it?
Well, they tried to explain that away, that suppressor, you lose velocity with the suppressor.
But he was able to kill two people with it.
But he was trying to penetrate the vehicle.
Oh, okay.
And not only that, I think that it's more... I think the gun, again, the thunder... the godlike thunderclap is more scary. I think what they did here is they sort of put a quasi-slasher mentality, in the opening parts of this, where, they used it to not, see it coming,
Well, yeah, I mean, they use the typical Hollywood that the silencer, you can't hear the gun at all.
Yeah.
Well, you might not hear. I don't really know from that. Well, you know what? You're right, because you know why? In my head, I started thinking, how far he could be to have that level of accuracy. So for that first little while before I knew where he was, I was thinking that he was at least a realist, 3,000 yards away. Which is, not probable, but also not entirely unrealistic for like a an open field kill like that. Under somewhere, a cock hair away from 2 miles or so. So. But I thought this being a movie, he could be in the fucking mountains or space, So I thought that maybe you wouldn't hear the suppressor. But turns out he was almost, it did the reverse thing, right? He was almost so close that you kind of got pissed off that he ever missed.
Yeah.
There was times where he was just toying with these people.
Yeah, but there were other times.
It was it was a total cat and mouse thing.
There was times where it was inconsistent with his aim.
Right.
I think that played a lot into his game of cat and mouse.
No. I mean, there were intentional misses, obviously, but there were times where he was trying to have kill shots and he missed, and there were times where he shouldn't have been able to hit and he hit.
I've held a gun, a rifle anyway, twice in my whole entire life, and one time I almost killed somebody because it went fucking flying behind me. But like, so far be it from me to, and I can barely. I'm such a wimp that I can barely hold up my fake cavalry revolver for Deadites photos. So I'm not going to have a huge debate on, the pros and cons of gunmanship, but you also don't fantasize your entire life about being the current writer on Punisher without knowing a little bit about guns. And I think that there's just not very much way that a brother can shoot out somebody's eye and then miss somebody who's right out in the open like that another time. It's very unlikely, I think.
Yes.
As Aries says, it's very inconsistent. Like he shot out somebody's fucking eye, Monsters.
The other thing that is inconsistent too, I think, and it's hard to tell because we don't really get the vantage point of the sniper. Like they do show kind of where he is, but I think that some of those shots would have been impossible from his location.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
unless you're highly skilled. I mean, you got to be pretty skilled.
What I'm saying is, I think that his angle just wouldn't allow him.
It was inconsistent with the angle, and later on in the movie, they actually show from his perspective.
Yes.
And where he was hitting, he shouldn't have been hitting, and he was not taking obvious shots that should have been.
And also where he was when they showed his point of view wasn't where he was. Wasn't where the geography didn't line up. You know what I mean? Because they looked like he was looking directly down at them, and he would have been like technically shooting almost for the windshield.
Yes.
So
I don't know. I never really sensed that that issue in the film.
That's why you come out with me in Aries' house when the zombies are the Russian scum.
The other issue too is, and something that really fucking bugged me. And maybe you guys can confirm or deny this, but is it possible for a phone to have no signal here and for a phone to have 3 dots here?
That happens in my house.
That does happen.
Literally within 2 feet.
Yeah.
If I walk out on the deck, I'm fucking shut out.
Yeah, but your inside outside is a big difference. I'm talking about being outside and the difference of 2 feet.
Yes.
I've seen that where it's like no service, you take 2 steps and then you have the 1 bar. But to take 2 steps and have 3 bars, that's a little far-fetched.
Also that, and to play off of your inconsistency there, if you can't get a signal, you can't really send any text messages, let alone pictures through text messages. Yet, through no signal, these guys are able to send.
Well, you could see that they were holding their phones up and like moving around.
That doesn't do shit.
It does.
It does.
The beauty of sending a text or an image or whatever is the phone will continue to try to send it
until
it goes through.
Yeah. Or it tells.
And it takes several minutes for that to happen.
So this
is immediate.
But if they're walking around holding their phone up, or if they find that sweet spot,
every time somebody was texting, they weren't sending it either.
But this is an instance of. So we've talked to a few filmmakers about this, but especially with Joe Bigas and also Mickey Keating, when talking about the cell phone dilemma. And I remember them saying, "We just don't do it. Like there's no, we just avoid." Having cell phones because it's just easier to tell a story. Now, granted, I understand not every film is going to do that, but I think this film just didn't need it. It was one of those things that just, I don't know, it kind of bugged me, you know, like I think it really could have been a better film without them trying to like I don't know, like 2 feet, like that just really, I don't know, it just really kind of bugged me.
The only good part about the technology, I thought, was how they showed where his location was.
Right, which is, I agree, which you could have done technically with a camera if someone had like a, you know, one of those, a camcorder or something like that. Not saying that that's a better option, but, you know, you could have done that same thing. But yeah, I agree. That was a cool thing to show where they found out where the shooter
But
was
in the
shooting.
time that they're in the time where their lives are at stake, and they're hiding behind their SUV or whatever, who the hell has the time to have themselves carrying around a selfie stick?
Oh, that's fine. They were going. She was.
Well,
they-
she
they were
didn't
all
know
going-
that she was going to
Yeah.
get fucking pinned down by a sniper.
They're
you
all going
idiot.
home.
No, but
or
I mean, who has it on their person in this situation?
whoever owns one. You if you own one, you probably carry it with you.
Okay, then I'll remember that. All right, then I'll
I mean,
remember.
I would imagine
why else would you? Why
I
else
should
would
carry
you
around
carry
a
it?
jump rope with me next time I.
Yeah, but if you bought a selfie stick, why wouldn't you carry it with you? That's you.
But that's
you
just
carry
it.
it to take selfies.
Yeah, I mean, what does it compact itself that much where you
Yeah.
can actually put it in your pocket?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I don't know shit about selfie sticks. Then.
But she's going to a birthday party, and
Right.
their kids on the road, so of course they're going to take
I will
pictures
tell
of
you the
each
most
other.
fucking unrealistic phone thing in this, and nobody's broached it. We've complained about the service. We've complained about the selfie stick.
Is it at
right?
the end?
No. If you fucking shoot a telephone, more is going to happen than the screen falls off and smoke
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
out.
Yeah.
Like that phone would fucking be molecular structure. Like that. Like nothing was protecting that phone. I have an
It's got
auto
a hell of
case,
a
and if it
case.
got
It's got an
shot,
auto
it would
case on it
explode.
or something.
Like so that was like the one phone inconsistency that bothered me because I felt
But
like
it didn't occur to me really because I do know a lot of the materials that go into making phones are like pretty hardcore. I obviously have never seen
so
anyone
are skulls.
try to shoot it, but yeah, I agree. I'm not saying, but you know, I guess it wasn't the big thing that bugged me about it.
I mean, I've seen people drop their phones and they just stop working. Like,
Sure.
but I mean, I don't know. Like
That, but that's where you're planting your flag on that one.
yeah.
No, well, he's right. He's right. I mean,
You shot a
I
fucking
don't.
phone.
In all the years that I've had one of these things, I've never cracked a phone. I don't know how it happens. How people crack these goddamn things.
You want me to shoot it?
If you got a gun, I'm willing to. I'm getting a new phone very soon anyway, so have at it. But I just don't understand how these fucking things crack. Because
Well, you're careful with your shit.
yeah, but I toss my phone around whenever I feel like
Oh,
it. You know?
Jesus
Christ, now it's broken.
Does anybody
be
else
great.
feel that the blocking of this film and some of the places that they put things for drama kind of eliminated like the fact that he had a high-powered sniper rifle?
Sniper.
Yeah. Like he was basically shooting across the street, right? Like
Yeah.
that.
He was shooting about 100 yards.
That was marginally less. Yeah, which is, like 2,900.
Which, I mean, for a trained sniper, that's nothing.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, even for the technology, that's nothing.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I mean,
Yeah, he's got to be. I mean, he's got to be rather skilled at that. Even at that distance, I mean, I would imagine. I mean, he gets off several headshots.
Well, I mean, anyone could make contact at that distance, but for him to have the accuracy he had, yes, he had skill.
Yeah. I mean, if it's set up on, I always forget what those triangle stands like are called, but
Tripods?
yeah, but
No, bipod.
if it's set up to
those
have
things.
something that takes a little bit of the kick away and stuff like that, like when you have a good enough sight, and it's essentially, I mean, those are in I think guns are a coward's weapon, but in a sick way, they are beautiful machines in their engineering. And if you put devices on that help, basically are cheats.
They're a tool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Humble Eddie says he threw his phone to prove a point. I'm rolling on the floor.
I'll do it again. Goddammit. Look at that.
I'm waiting for that
No
motherfucker
cracks.
to break.
One more time. Jump on the floor.
Oh.
Yeah, do it
all
on
the way
the
to
fucking
ground.
yeah.
On the floor.
No, no.
He's gonna fucking break it. He's gonna don't. Oh! Mars just rubbed his junk all over it. That's
now
the
it's
wor-
broken.
Yeah.
MZ,
Oh, no. We don't need that.
MZ, I'm gonna call you. Pick up.
Don't you fucking dare.
Oh my God!
Oh no, swamp ass.
He wiped his ass with his phone.
If you're gonna treat it poorly,
Is my new service ASNS?
ASNS.
24-hour Verizon
Leanna,
store.
Leanna said that's disgusting, Mars.
Yes, it
Yeah.
She's right.
Yeah.
no, Leanna, you're wrong.
No, she's not.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Now lick it clean, so I'll feel better about myself.
You guys are fucking weird. Oh my God!
What the fuck?
Oh, somebody snipe me, please.
Jesus Christ. What's wrong with you?
I'm scared to touch it.
Leanna just hurt my feelings, criticizing my cultural ways.
By calling you disgusting?
Yep.
She obviously knows you.
Yeah, she's listened to the show once or twice.
Whatever. When she gets older, she'll understand.
She'll
know what
understand
No,
why.
she understands now.
Yeah,
yeah.
she gets it. She gets it fine.
What do you mean, dementia?
Yeah, she'll understand.
What
You
do
know what
need
part
to
about-
get? You're a disgusting individual.
That's fine.
You know what part of this movie kind of threw me off a little bit, though?
What?
Was the editing. I don't know what it is. There was something about the way this film was edited that I just didn't sit comfortably with.
You mean that it do you mean that sometimes it acted like there was commercials?
No, it just felt like a scene when the cop shows up, or cops show up, and I don't know, just the way that scene, on top of others, I might add, kind of brought itself along. It just felt awkward to me. I don't know. Maybe they think that they got it right or something, but I don't know. Something about it was just missing.
Well,
in
there
the way
were-
they edited this film.
There were all
I know
those
what you
fade to black that were
A lot.
meant to mean that time had passed.
Sure.
But then they would show a shot that would kind of take that time away.
Yeah. It was almost like they used like a very heavy-handed, like lazy, like Apple movie like fading effect that like was literally like the fade to black commercial thing, because sometimes it just faded to the same thing. You know, and when you're dealing with, you should never. I'm not a filmmaker, and I'll never be a filmmaker. Even if I make a fucking film, I'll never be a filmmaker. And apparently, in the eyes of some people, I'm disgusting, but I don't care because I'm Dynamo Mars. And one day you'll wish you are.
You're not disgusting in your own eyes.
You got your feelings hurt. Okay.
No, it's all right.
I mean, you'd rub the phone on your junk.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He rubs his junk on my phone, then he licks it.
Oh my God, I can see the streak from here.
Yeah.
Oh, what could it be? That's a memory.
Oh, it's not going away.
That's an evil
Oh my
streak.
God, what is
Saliva
on your
strong.
tongue? What are you, a frog?
No.
Jesus.
You know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
Just put that up. Just put it up to your face and say
No,
hi.
I'm not
And
putting
say
that up
hi,
to my
Mom.
face.
Yeah.
But
Call your mother.
yeah, she doesn't. He can smell her on the phone.
Oh! So,
I can't remember what I said.
I just feel like and also the performances of this movie, I feel a little lackluster.
Yeah.
There was
I
a
agree.
lot of reaction shots that I just thought was just so stupid. There was a lot of gaping shots, eyes wide open, mouth wide open, supposedly frozen in fear, where it seems like everybody was frozen in fear.
How would you be?
You know what? That didn't bother me so much as the rotating the camera shots.
They tried to get fancy with some of the camera
was
shots.
unnecessary.
I don't know. They tried to put, he tried to put his own stamp on it by using some
Some of
interesting
it I liked,
camera shots,
yeah.
like that above, like that
Yeah, I
drone
like-
shot,
the drone shot.
where it was
That
spinning
one
around.
was fine.
That was good.
I
But
also like the camera through the wound effect.
Yeah, but I
no,
do
no,
feel
no.
like he
But
went
we've seen
back
that
to.
before.
Yeah, I do feel like that was like a.
Oh, I didn't say it was original.
yeah,
I just
that's
liked
like
it.
if Sam Raimi made a movie tomorrow that had a bunch of steady cam.
I'm talking about the rotating camera shot of him changing the tire.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
lame.
When the
That-
guy was rolling over.
that was lame.
Out, the guy I'm talking
Those
about. He
reminded me
rolled
of, like,
over when he was
Rob
noticing
Tabbert.
something
Oh,
else.
yeah.
Unnecessary, very.
That
very
reminded me of
distracting.
Rob Tabbert, like kind of the intruder, like just moving the camera because you could, being outrageous because you know how. Is really
Yeah.
what I would say.
And that seemed like a style that would go on throughout the entire film, but it didn't. It only lasted just like a certain section of the movie for whatever reason. I mean, if they continued with that, it might get a little tiring, but at least it'll, I don't know, for some reason
was
it's something to look at.
Yeah, but it's to the best of my knowledge, it was just those two shots with that rotating.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that the only camera thing that really pissed me off, like
You weren't able to lick it?
the blurriness of when they would show the sniper. Why?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it was a little weird.
He was covered
Yeah.
entirely from head to toe.
Yeah,
It's
like-
not like somebody got out of the fucking van and climbed up the tree and there was going to be a reveal and they had to hide who it was.
I'm so
Well,
glad
no,
you brought
because
that up
the-
because I
the-
thought it was me at first.
The barrel of the gun was in focus.
You could be right. Yeah.
I am right. Go ahead and say it. You say it all the time.
What?
I'm
I'm
Aries, and
You
I'm
are
right.
You are.
Dynamo just rubbed the dude's phone on his junk, so he was a little disoriented.
No. Wait.
Those shots were more about the barrel of the gun than they were about the.
No, you're
individual.
right. You are right.
Yes. I never get tired of you saying that.
So, you know
Which
what?
is great because you say it all the time.
You know what? Well, here's what's funny. Like, I was so distracted because I felt like that they were focusing in and getting more and more blurry, and like it almost distracted from the point of which was obviously for the gun to be in focus, but it just looked broken. It just looked like they fucked up. Like I feel like they didn't get their point across.
One of the things that bothered me the most about all the problems with this movie was the car-on-car.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a car accident.
Yeah.
You know, essentially a car accident where one of the cars did not move.
Yeah, right.
Well, I wanted to ask you this: how anchored would a car be by being on its like?
That car, with that impact, that car would have flown 50 feet.
Okay.
Easily
The
50
truck.
feet.
The truck.
The truck.
Even with a couple of flat tires.
Even if that thing that had no tires,
This
50
this-
feet easily.
Just physics.
Yes.
Just inertia.
Yep.
Speaking of things that went long distances, what about that girl's throw when she threw the fucking water bottle like 50 feet?
Yeah, really.
Oh, yeah.
Asshole.
That young lady played softball in college.
Grab the rest. Fuck.
And the poor
And it was
guy.
a pretty good throw too. Like
and the poor guy with like all his legs
legs
shot out.
Yeah.
I will
and he's
say.
got to go crawl for it.
I will say
Nice.
this though, it did have some decent gore. It had some Steve Dillon gore shots.
that's what he
the
does,
effects
though,
in it were
like-
great.
Yeah, like do you
Oh, sure.
remember how fucking cool some of the gore was in No One Lives?
Yeah.
I will say that this has the first of any of his films that I can think of. This has the first quasi-satisfying ending.
Oh, I love the ending of this.
Yeah, because I feel like Versus was, even as much as I like Versus, it was a bit of a fart in church, and Midnight Meat Train was sort of hamstrung by its source material a little bit. So in No One Lives, I felt like A, the fucking punchline, the titular line placement was stupid, and B, I just didn't understand why. Like, it just was in an outrageous movie that was just too necessary and outrageous. Like, so I feel like this might be his first satisfying ending ever. And I'm a fan. Like, if he's a director where I'll never say he's one of my favorite directors, but I feel like he made, he's somebody who I'll like check out every time, and be excited to.
I was really thrilled with the ending because it was one that I did not see coming. Because normally with that kind of an ending, it would just either end bad or end good, but not end good or bad in the way that this one ended.
I mean,
I did not see that coming.
I kind of
at
saw
all.
it coming with the setup of it. Without spoiling, you guys know what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I want to see after. I want to see what really happened. Like, what was the?
What do you mean? What was the what?
Well, we'll talk off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I don't know. I just thought it was like okay. I mean, it was to the extent. I didn't think it was going to go to that extent, but I kind of saw that happening. I mean, without spoiling you, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying.
I mean,
But
I
I liked it.
I thought it was. I mean, I don't know what you guys thought, but especially with the current bullshit going on in the news, I mean, it. There's a lot of things I was thinking about besides just like a horror movie. You know what I mean? Some of the shit is fucking happening.
But when are you going to get your next packs of cigarettes?
No,
it's about people getting shot.
Oh,
with
about
guns.
Horrible tragedies.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, going
Jesus.
on in the world.
I mean, timing of this movie isn't great.
Yeah.
No, well, not as much timing as like.
Especially
I mean,
when you figure the weapons
This
involved.
this one felt differently though, and someone mentioned it early on. I think it was either Mars or MZ. That this felt more like a slasher, like they were doing.
Yeah, I
this
don't think
person
there was
was
any political
doing
subtext to this at all.
Doing it because they got off on killing people with guns. You know, it wasn't like whereas like a school shooting on one of those, or the fucking Las Vegas one. Like these were just like, I mean, this guy's sick in the movie. Don't get me wrong, but these are sick people who just want to like kill as many people as they can. And this was almost like cat and mouse. Like this guy got off on the game.
He just wanted. Yeah.
He had a point to this that fucking guns are bad. It was so heavy-handed and trite to the point where it's like saying like fucking alligators are bad or Jason Voorhees are bad.
I think
like,
if anything, and this goes to what Aries was saying, is that the gun was the villain, right? Because that was what the focus was on. It wasn't the person shooting it. So if there is a statement based on what you said about that, that's probably the case, is that the gun is the villain because that's what the focus is on and not the person using it, you know?
And not that
he was almost an accessory to the gun, you know?
Agreed. Some batshit crazy people do batshit crazy things.
Yeah.
But I almost like, but obviously it's hard not to think about what's happened in every other month, it seems like. And maybe I kind of, essentially this was a sniper trying to kill people behind a car movie. That's what it was. Maybe I kind of wanted more, I don't know, maybe more to kind of be about what's kind of going on. And what would it be like to actually...
Yeah, I think that would have muddied it, though, you know?
I don't think that's... I don't need that.
I mean, he was using an antique bolt-action rifle.
It was. I mean, it wasn't like it was some new high-powered
I mean,
thing.
you know, if he had an AR-15, he would just... I mean, wouldn't be a movie. It would be a 10-minute movie.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that it might have been more, not to be armchair, director, but I would have found it more interesting maybe to have a dialogue with the sniper.
Yeah, but I think that gets beyond the point. Though.
I wrote that literally that what you just described was without any exaggeration or hyperbole, my fucking 9th grade creative writing final, which ended in because I had a gun.
Oh, I wasn't in your class.
Yeah, like it wasn't like, I don't know. I feel like that's a little too like fucking 8th grade liberal blog to have been interesting to me at all, because I think that if there was any political argument to be sussed out of this, and I don't think that they were making any intentional political arguments, is that, guns don't kill people. People kill people. But, because again, this guy had to be really good and really trained at what he did, even though this is unfortunately a beautiful machine, to have been shooting as good as he was sometime.
I just need something to make it more interesting.
I should have made that bet in a way.
I think the movie could have been more interesting. I don't think it's not in the direction you're going, though.
I don't know that we needed a fucking standoff with the political.
No.
The political idea of this film never
entered
entered my mind
for a
second.
Not saying political at all.
I just think that's kind of like... I miss movies that just have monsters.
Me too.
we don't need to know the motive all the time. We don't need to know why this person is doing what
We
they're doing.
certainly don't need any fucking political subtext every time. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You're right.
drives
You're
me
right.
up a fucking wall.
This
Like,
is just
I don't know what
straightforward
the-
to kill
Just
it.
a straightforward movie.
I miss slashers. I
And-
miss monster movies. Like
Everyone's got to throw their own goddamn political spin on every single
that,
frame of
when that
everything.
shit started, it was charming, but by the time, like some of this other stuff came out, as I call them, the children of the Babadook, I was just so fucking bored with every filmmaker that came down turning their horror movie into an Academy Award fucking speech.
I don't mind that though. I'm just saying, like, if you're doing a slasher, and this is in essence kind of a slasher,
Right.
If you're doing a slasher, I don't need to know the motive. Like,
Nope.
but in a movie like The Babadook, that just because you mentioned that one specifically, that's a different type of movie.
Yeah, I
like,
wish
you
the
do need to get more into why things are happening.
I wish
but,
a sniper shot everyone in that house,
yeah,
including the fucking Harpo Marx kid.
Especially
we know how
the
you feel
fucking
about that
Harpo
movie,
Marx
but
kid.
but but that's not. I don't think that would have made. I think that would have made this movie
Or it
worse.
could be simpler, too. Or, like Jason, for better or worse, even though it was harebrained and whatever else, and Freddy and all those guys had explanations, right? But the most effective one of all time is, not trying to get MZ riled up, is Halloween. where Michael Myers, literal reason that he, originally, post-Halloween 2, chased down, pre-Halloween 2, I mean, chased down this girl because she showed up on his doorstep and then followed her around the whole rest of the day.
Right. And
You
then
know,
they
like-
started kind of putting the pieces together, I guess. But
Right, but, the film, in my opinion, works better without that weird tag-on of those two supposed relationship.
Humble Eddie makes a good point and says the beauty to slasher films is that it depends almost exclusively on execution.
Right. I'm disappointed in the wake of the Sam Raimi imitators, and I've said this for years, and the Asian action directors coming into America, that we didn't get this cycle of super stylized, cool slashers, like slashers injected with that sort of energy that Evil Dead 2 had, and Peter Jackson, and, later on where, some of the, even Miike, you know what I mean? Like, where you didn't get that sort of fucking bug shit crazy, like slasher movie cycle. Maybe we'll get it someday, but it seems like even most of the slashers that we've watched this year, or in the last year being 12 months, have sort of tried to have some sort of political, overtone to it, where a lot of low budget slashers did, but they were sort of tacked on, right? Like that wasn't why they were. They were almost justification as opposed to, for every Slumber Party Massacre there was 9 million slaughterhouses, So, but yeah, I don't not to pig pile all over Raven Channel, because I don't think he kind of even got across what he was trying
No,
to
like
say.
I totally don't get the political thing at all. I don't understand. That wasn't the point of it. The point was, yeah, there's some real shit going on. So there's some the fear of that is pretty real, right? I mean, you can kind of put yourself in that predicament. I think the fact that it wasn't in a closed space, most of the, aside from the shit in Vegas, but they could have played with that more. I really found this to be very, very dull.
I'm always like I've.
And I don't need to know who Snoke is. I wasn't
Yeah.
one of the ones that was like, "What do you mean we don't find out who Snoke is?" He was a fucking dark Jedi who looked stupid and asked for a fucking face. Who gives a fuck about Snoke?
I didn't even know that.
We don't know who Snoke is. We don't know who Rey is. I'm not saying that I'm getting behind that. I need to know who the sniper is. I just wanted something more.
In the original trilogy, were people saying that about the Emperor? I want to know who the Emperor is.
Everyone knows that people fucking are flipping out over it wasn't explained that who Snoke
You found out
was.
who the Emperor was. How'd that go?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I wasn't crying that either. I'll say the fact that Luke is fucking Leia's sister, you should be fucking crying about that. That's fucking dumb.
You won't get over that.
It's stupid, man. It's the whole
40
reason.
years.
It's so fucking dumb. Crack a blue-eyed Skywalker and fucking brunettes fucking stupid. That was dumb.
Well, actually, but I mean, I don't look that's the same dichotomy between me and the rest of my family.
Well, how many times you make out with that?
Never. But my point is that my family has, like, most of them have light hair and are tall, and I don't look like the rest of them. And I'm
So that's how it is in your family.
right.
The point
Aren't
is,
you kind of short to be a Mars?
I think so.
It's true.
I'm not saying putting like some left wing, right wing, whatever the fuck wing spin on it. I just wanted something a little more interesting.
Like,
And
I think where we jumped on was when you said you wanted to have a exchange with the.
yell
killer,
at the mother. I'm not saying like tell me about your feelings.
Yeah.
No,
But
I
like,
mean this.
yell at the motherfucker. Fuck you. You know, you do something to hide it.
Well,
And
he
there's
did.
nowhere to
They
go.
did
from
have
it.
that cool. My favorite scene in it was when the guy had resigned.
Oh
That
yeah.
he was in a no-win situation. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that was a really cool scene.
to be with somebody he cares about.
Was I think it was more like he had no reason to live anymore.
Yeah.
He,
Well, I don't know,
he-
maybe.
he accepted his fate.
Right.
I mean, I feel this movie was very deliberately paced.
It was.
For,
And it,
for,
and it,
for some people, Raven Shadow included, that might have been a little slow.
yeah, it did walk a very fine line between deliberate and boring.
Yeah, I didn't find it boring.
I never felt it crossed that line to boring.
At times, I did during the tire changing scene. It was very deliberate to try to create tension, but I felt like it was almost too deliberate. Like like it was trying too hard. But at other times, I thought it was fine.
I mean, yeah, the tire changing scene before all the action took place, that was a little forced because they just kind of like, no, I'll do it. Okay, now
Yeah,
I'll do
yeah,
it. No,
yeah.
no, I'll do it. And
Yeah.
are all you motherfuckers going to take turns changing a tire?
Right,
like,
right.
one person do it.
Well, none of it mattered.
No, but
That's
it was
like
just
that's
a
like
little,
the main part. You know what I mean? Like if some of that had turned around and been important in some way, or the guy that they made fun of for not being able to like put on the tire, like had some sort of like a hero moment, even if he got it took away, which seemed to be kind of the modus operandi of this film. He did that trick like 3 times.
but it was never that. It was just all of a sudden, like, one guy tried to, not even try. He just started to do it, and then someone else was like, no, I'll do it.
Yeah. Now if they
Okay. And then the third guy, no, I'll do it.
and if they would have cut that scene down considerably, I mean, you could have knocked off, say, 2.5, 3 minutes, and you still would have had a decent length movie. I mean, this is an hour-and-a-half movie.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose much time.
To kind of like go on the opposite end of Raven Shadow, I made a note that I could have done without seeing the shooter at all.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we could have just completely not even like they could have shown where he was shooting from, and
That
that's
would
it.
have been spooky.
Right. We don't even need to see the gun. We don't even need to see him. I thought that would have been better. Now,
Well-
obviously, as we go on in the movie, maybe we do need to see, maybe the ending would have had to change. I don't know, but
It's like seeing the shark too much in Jaws too.
right. I thought it would have been more interesting if we didn't see anything.
Well,
But
I liked seeing the shooter. I liked the out of focus aspect of it, where the gun was what
you
was
didn't
focused
really,
on.
You didn't really see him, but
Yeah. And I mean, even at the end where they fully revealed him, they didn't entirely.
right.
And I did like that aspect of it.
There was some really kind of silly scenes in this too. When the cops show up, I just
I
thought
was
that
fucking annoyed the
Did you
fuck out of
did you
that.
recognize one of the cops?
Oh, the Keystone Capers there? Yeah.
Graham Skipper.
okay. I was actually just gonna ask if it was Graham Skipper, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, cast totally, partially like 50-50, like wrongly against type. I feel, kind of the elephant in the room for me, and we never ended up covering it because it was before we started the show. And this was different enough that, I feel like it could be like the difference of like Rogue and, what was it, Dark Water, the other Australian crocodile movie.
Yep.
This wasn't an issue of like a Jaws knockoff or anything like that it was so on the nose, but I kind of feel like Ty West sort of already
All right,
made
I'm
this
Ty
movie
West.
with his film Trigger Man.
I still haven't seen that.
It's a lot less of it didn't really stick with me, so there's something to be said there, but
Yep.
it was super low. It was almost like budgetarily seemed like a step back from The Roost and some of the other films he had made at that time. But I think that it was enough that I feel like it's amazing that it's like not not brought up in the same way that if another like a slasher movies are inevitably like compared to, because like another film where I feel like this owes a minor debt to, and I've repped this film since we started it, is an incredible French film called The Nest, which is a story about a group of thieves that are trying to steal unmarked. Just to show you the time, I think that they were like Pentium hard drives or something like that, and a convoy with essentially an Osama bin Laden is like jacked, and the surviving convoy members hide in this warehouse. So the warehouse where these thieves are, and the Osama bin Laden guy and the surviving police are stuck in a warehouse, and the only way there are gunmen outside, and it seems like hundreds at times, like Frank Miller, is occasionally someone will be walking and they will just be like besieged by sight lasers. And it was supposed to be an action movie, but to me, who's afraid of guns and who is always afraid of these things, no matter how far away from the news we get to, I think I thought about it at the beginning of Infinity War. And then I thought about it when they talked about Thanos's, who he is in comics and what his kind of reason is, because I'm like, Jesus, somebody got to fucking come in here and thin out half the theater, like, use that as their excuse. Like, I think about it all the time, so, like, I'm terrified about it always. But I think that which was trying to be an action movie was a better horror movie than this that was kind of trying to be a horror movie.
What?
Wow.
We should have watched that.
I have my last 2 points are kind of a little bit spoilery, but so I'm not going to necessarily mention them. But there's 2 things some of you guys had mentioned that you like the ending. There's 2 things in the end that really fucking bugged me. One was when a truck hit the tree. And also when a gun hits someone in the face. What happens after that?
Yeah,
that's just him though.
Seemed unlikely, but
that's just him all over.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, I think at that point they figure they got you for about $1.27. You might as well deal with some.
He is
unnatural violence.
Well, no. I mean, the tree aside, because that was little unlikely.
It was a big tree.
Was
it was a big tree.
That scene was
that
awful.
speed. I feel like that truck would have gone in 2 directions on either side of it.
Right. But as far as the gun, depending on how it was left before it reached that point, that is completely feasible.
You're shitting me.
No. You mean like? I think he's talking about the clubbing.
I don't want to spoil it.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it during the break. It was basically the very last thing that happens in the movie.
Oh,
it is completely feasible.
See, that's not what I thought.
Yeah, that's feasible. No,
I thought you meant the very typical Ryu.
Oh no,
Hayukin?
Because Ryu always drives me crazy in post verses or a lot of his stuff because he took that samurai aesthetic with him.
Yeah,
like even look at No One Lives, but there's no fucking swords anymore. So some of these things just don't make people's heads explode like lemons.
Because I was thinking, what can the butt of a gun really do? I think that's what is that what you're talking about?
No.
And, all right, then I'm thinking of something else.
And it could probably
all right, then if that's the case, then Ares,
but
you're
also,
right. I agree.
Also, what you're saying is completely feasible as well.
I mean,
I don't have a problem with that. I think you could crush someone's head.
It's a solid wood.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
With a thin piece of rubber.
But it exploded.
Sure,
like, that
but
was a little weird.
No, that was a little too much.
And she was it's not because she's a woman. If anybody, certainly me, fucking had got shot in the shoulder and
she got
fucking
shot.
drove a fucking truck into a thing, I may not have had the torque to.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as getting to that point, a little far-fetched, but no, that is completely feasible.
I disagree.
I think it was too much. I think that I think you could fuck/crush somebody's face.
Yes.
But I don't know that like you could make somebody's head explode like
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have anything to bring up before it hits a verdict on this?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just want to say I want to give a major props to the two characters that were the first to die, because those two had to come back after shoot after shoot after shoot and do nothing but just lay on that hot tar.
No, they did. That wasn't fucking actors.
Then what was it?
Well, they could
Why
get,
would they use props?
It's a low budget film. Why would you use props?
well, they could get dummies, but also
Costs more for actors, you dummy.
how often are those
You have to
bodies
pay
in
actors.
frame?
They were really getting eaten by the bird.
Wolfie, I have a
enough
question.
enough to notice that they're people
No,
and
Wolfie,
not.
I have
and
a
not-
question.
You're gonna
and not-
suffer for your eye, get eaten by ravens.
In 2 days of work, you could frame up the shot
Brian
where
Paul and
those
punch me in the balls.
bodies are in frame, and then move on to other angles.
Wolfie,
Yes.
Probably.
how did
Mars.
they give that first person that died that rash?
Yeah, keep laughing. Lick this.
Lick my phone.
Look, yeah. Don't lick my phone,
You get
please.
shot for real.
The smear is still there, by the way. I can't get rid of it. Look at this shit. I can't get rid of it.
You got to lick it off.
Yeah.
Dad, I ain't looking
Cecil
this.
says, well, you can just use a PA or an extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Humble Eddie says, pay them more than just Cadbury eggs, my friend.
Yeah.
Hey.
If you
Hey,
lick that,
it's late night. It's late night, and we don't have time for rational thinking.
if you lick that, you'd write pop songs like me. That's my pop smear.
Hey, quick! Somebody give me a Q-tip.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Episode 301.
We're sorry.
This might be the penultimate.
All right, let's go to verdict.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether this flick is a trick or a treat and any final thoughts we may have. Raven Shadow.
Smear is still there.
I would like to see what else this director does next.
We have.
No, get in the
Oh.
future. In the next year, whatever he's working on.
He's an old dude, so he may not.
All right, well, for his last film, I think he could have did better.
If this was Takashi Miike, then yeah, we would definitely be interested. In fact, he'll probably put out another 17 films
I was just
before
going
the
to
year's
say, yeah,
out.
if it was Takashi Miike, we'd see about 10 more films this year.
Tepid treat.
Tepid treat?
Yeah.
All right. Aries.
Yeah, I mean, despite all the little problems I've had, I tend to nitpick about certain things with movies, especially when dealing with guns. And this movie tried to overanalyze about the guns. Tried to have one of the characters try to rationalize what's happening and draw false conclusions, and then
She was pretty dead on, though, wasn't she?
no.
Huh.
She drew false conclusions, things that were wrong, and also things were happening that shouldn't have happened. As far as how bullets work, but all in all, I mean, it is a good watch if you can really suspend your disbelief. Give it a watch. Sit back and enjoy it. It is a treat.
All right, MZ.
Yeah, this is definitely a flawed film. It's not perfect by any means. There are some things in here that I think could be improved upon, and there are some things as outright as simple as the story that we got to see tonight that I would not change. The basic story itself was pretty decent. It had some decent tense moments, but there's a lot of things in this film that really knock it down. Still, it's worth a watch, especially if you're a fan of this of Kitamura, and this is a tepid treat.
Marsman.
I love when I checked the chat room and realized that we're getting a Wolfie edited version of things. Julie said everyone should lick the phone. She didn't say
I
was
can't read
disgusted.
everything.
Well, you only read the stuff that makes me look bad.
I
Then he
didn't-
says we're in cahoots somehow.
I didn't see that.
Well, that's what I'm looking at right
Aries
here.
has the fucking chat room.
Oh yeah, that's why I brought the tablet.
We have right here. Like, you guys can take a look. I'm not the only
too
one.
close and too far away and on the wrong side for me to read.
You can't see it anyway.
Look at that, huh?
You almost made a spill.
If you had your cap off of that thing, I would have made a spill in your face with blood.
Don't have a cap.
Whoa!
If you have stuff that does not have caps on it,
I always
right
have cap.
close to my... Okay, so there's nothing to worry about.
Well, I still almost wanted to
Damn,
floor
that
and
screams
got it
brighter than
undrinkable.
I thought it was.
Look at that. Look at the computer. The screen moves.
That's too close for me to read now.
All right.
Ah, there we go.
It has to
Much
be
better.
a sweet spot. I can read none of yours, but if Raven Shadow had a screen and it was facing me, I'd be able to read that. This isn't a. This is not a. This is this director. I think is an acquired taste anyway, and I think that what sucks about him is he's not as prolific enough that you can pin that down. You know, unless you've happened to see, like, think about the movies that we've mentioned. Like, it's not like he's had a ton of movies in between then. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like, he sort of made more first, I think, if I'm remembering the timeline. So you've almost had to have followed him all along.
Well, he's made some other stuff too. So just, after No One Lives, he did Lupin the Third, which I believe is an anime.
Well,
Is that a live action?
It's a live action version, yeah.
So he did Lupin the Third.
I thought that came out before No One Lives, but I guess not.
Came a couple years later, and then it looks like he did a TV series called Callous Night. He did one episode. He did this, and then now he's got 3 things in post or pre-production. Nightmare Cinema, which I saw just got picked up at Fantasia Film Fest. It's a horror anthology.
That's interesting.
So that has I think Mick Garris directed one.
Oh, nice.
Joe Dante, Alejandro Bruges. I think
Okay.
is how you say that. So it's got some real, and it's got Mickey Rourke in it. So he's done some stuff, but as we know when we talk to folks, especially our good buddy Carando,
Right.
it can take a while sometimes to get greenlit.
There are 2 things that's funny that you bring up Carando, because he's an example, and I think that not specifically Asian, his whole thing is that he's never actually made an out-and-out, just on-the-nose horror movie that I can... well, I think maybe Azumi, but,
Yeah.
even that was pretty fucking outrageous, if I recall. So he's sort of an action director leaning towards horror, and I think that in some cases the genre has moved on a little bit without him, and I think that in a lot of ways that's charming, but some ways you end up having that tire scene was very 1998.
Yeah.
So, that those sort of things stand out in not a very charming way, and not no fault of his, the ways he's classically derivative of are from kind of an ugly era of filmmaking anyway. So, he is an acquired taste, and if this is your first movie of his, you will find certain elements of it jarring, like the fact that there is a fucking panning shot through somebody's head, sort of pretentiously, or the physics of how people die in his movies. Like, sometimes somebody will get stabbed 9 million times and still be wandering around, and then other times somebody will brush up against the blunt end of a gun and explode. So, that's very him. All the faults in this film, for better or worse, were very him. So I was very prepared, with the exception of some of the gun stuff that you were talking about. That was actually, kind of maybe showed a weakness of him, because he's used to, he does... he doesn't even try that usually. You know what I mean? No One Lives, there was nothing that you could say that wouldn't happen, because nothing in the fucking movie could happen. So to have something grounded in reality really, I think, showed off his weaknesses. Or not his weaknesses, really turned his kind of tropes into weaknesses, because they enunciated them in a negative light. So, but I'm a fan. It may have sounded like I hated this. I didn't hate it. I did enjoy it, but I do feel like this is lesser him, and he doesn't have a lot to work with anyway. So I would have liked to have seen a million other filmmakers make this script. A lot of them are friends of ours. So, some of the looks, I'd love to have seen Blinks make this. I'd love to have seen Carando make this. I'd love to have seen a lot of other people make this who could have took this subject matter and made this movie instead of tried to shoehorn this movie into being one of their movies. But I would say this, in our rating system, I would say this is a treat. I won't say what I would rate it because Johnny yells at me, but this is a treat is a very broad scope in our thing, so...
And Evil Corny said, and I said that MZ needs to cut his hand off for touching his phone.
Let me see this.
Don't give it to him. No.
I was gonna clean it off for you.
Yeah, clean it off with his Bozak.
First of all, I didn't put on my Bozak. I put on my taint.
Yeah, and then you
It's
licked
worse.
it. So how did your taint
It's got
taste?
shit stains on it.
Delicious.
Delicious, great.
It's not the first taint I've tasted today.
Today.
All right, so for me,
yes, I'm a connoisseur of taint.
Yeah, $2 taint tacos.
$2 taint tacos.
I taint lion.
Tacos. It's Taint Taco Tuesday. Come on.
And where are they selling those?
You don't want to know.
That taco smell.
All right, so for me, this is a very mean-spirited, nihilistic film, and I'm. It's not that I'm against them, but I'm kind of lukewarm on them. If you're going to be nihilistic, like, I don't know. I just felt that this was competently made, and it had some good flourishes, but this is a tough concept to pull off flawlessly. The script and performances have to be spot on for this to work. And this one, for me, hovered between decent and just kind of flat out kind of bad. So I'm not sorry I saw this film, but it's very difficult for me to recommend this. I don't think I can say, you got to go see Downrange. You got to go watch this movie. Like, I don't even know if I tell people, like, if you're bored, watch it. I just don't think it's that good. It had too many flaws, and it's a tough thing to pull off. I will say that this isn't easy to do effectively. But I think that there's just too many things that went wrong for me. So I'm just going to give it I guess it's barely a trick, but I'm just going to say trick. I really wouldn't would have trouble recommending this to people, and I don't know. It's very mean spirited too, so that maybe that's part of it. That when films are mean spirited, I kind of want I don't necessarily need a payoff, but I feel like this was you sometimes want to root for the killer in some senses like that, and I didn't really care about the killer or the gun or whatever. So it kind of really walked that line of not caring about the victims, not caring about the killer.
Right.
I was just this kind of voyeur watching this world and not really caring about it,
Yeah.
That's the thing about it, yeah.
So for me, that was hard for me to really grab onto something emotionally, and I don't need to grab onto something emotionally all the time.
Wolfie, do you feel that I find what you're saying is interesting, because I wanted it to feel a little more mean-spirited, I think, and I think part of his filmmaking...
That's the thing. I would have been fine if it went a little bit more, I think.
Right.
It just was kind of a little bit safe in a nihilistic way.
Right. His gooey kind of outrageous style, you know what I mean, made it... it's hard to be super mean-spirited when... you keep having fun, mini fun little intervals, a camera through somebody's fucking head is fun. That's movie magic, and that kind of takes away part of the reason that some of the great 70s films are so nihilistic was they didn't have the budget to kind of get into making movie magic.
Julie Meow Meow says taint by numbers.
Yeah,
and then Dynamo says, "I can't quit you, Julie." That's amazing. Humble Eddie says, "No joke, Yokiro Taco Smell was the first porno I ever saw." Me and my friend Demi found it walking in the woods as kids.
What?
It was a VHS.
Yeah. That's why I mentioned it, because I remember it.
Yokiro Taco Smell. I've never heard of that.
I have.
Sound
Of course
appealing.
you have.
I have.
Why would you watch that?
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
All right, bring it up. Why would they be a videotape in the woods, though?
Why not?
That's what
where you
Julie's
find all the
saying.
best shit.
Yeah, but why would you have at least the magazine you can bring with you, but how are you going to have a mobile fucking VHS player back in the day?
Well, maybe you're just trying to hide it from
Yeah.
folks. Or maybe it
maybe you're
scarred
just
you so much.
getting rid of it and you threw it in the woods.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, you put it in a basket.
Yeah, but
In a basket?
Yeah, but then your parents will find it.
your parents or your wife,
Yeah.
you throw it in the woods, no one knows.
Yeah.
As soon as it leaves your hand, that wasn't mine.
Now, if the porno's good, I'd put my wife in the woods.
I
but-
can't believe somebody actually brought that up.
All right, bring it up on your phone.
I thought I was going to be the only one who knew the hidden meaning behind taco smell.
Humble-
I can't believe someone else caught on to that.
Humble Eddie says, from what I remember, it was somewhat classy, fireplace for a rug type deal.
Julie said maybe they were planning to make a porno tree.
They're planning it to make a porno tree.
Dude, plant this so we can get more of them.
But speaking of tree, that was one of this film's faults. Like, they wanted us to be invested in something, but it was basically the story of a group of people besieged by a tree, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, that was like what you had as your representation of a villain and some blurry camera shots, you know?
So what's political? So
But that's all a sniper is.
Creepy Girl says, I don't get mean-spirited. I mean, it's a movie about a sniper. Is he supposed to be a co-moderate sniper? A considerate sniper. Explain.
No, that's not the point, but just because, like...
This, yeah, it's not... It's mean-spirited because of what... I mean, I don't want to give it away, but, yeah, it's...
You mean like the violence is unapologetic?
No.
Well,
No.
I mean, not
The
only
violence
is he...
is kind of apologetic, and that's where it fucks up because it keeps... It trajects too much into kind of fucking cinema fantastic.
I kind of liked it. I with the exception of the final, you know, the butt of the gun scene. But
then you won't.
I mean, not only is he killing people, but he's toying with them. Yeah. He moves them with his shots, like he fires to direct them to
oh sure
points.
Right.
Because you get a couple one character who's saying, you know, he could have shot me. Why didn't he shoot me? It was a total game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
No question about it.
You could have made this same movie like a fucking canon action movie too, and had it not be as, to use Wolfie's word, mean-spirited. So I don't think that. Here's a perfect example. Creepy Girl. Sorry, you're spooky sexy. Jason kills like 900 people over the course of those movies, and I don't think any of those movies but one is kind of mean-spirited. So it's not what happens in the movie, it's the tone and writing of the movie that makes it mean-spirited.
Julie says, ooh, speaking of, I saw Troll 3 the other day with killer tree roots.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They made a Troll 3?
Yeah.
Cecil says, I like the killer tree in The Guardian.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you should go back and listen to our review of it.
I think Cecil mentioned that one before. Yeah, we did review that way back. All right, so we need to head to a break, but actually what we're going to do instead, actually, we're going to talk about the movie we're going to review next week. So, Mars, I decided to go with, it was between two, and we suggested maybe doing two movies, but I don't think we're going to do that. I think we'll just do one. And this... I think this one will be good because it's going to break things up a little bit because we have a couple more horror films coming the rest of the month. So I think we're going to go with this one, Mars. And I think we're going to go with the latest film from Yeon Sang-ho, the director of Train to Busan.
Oh.
And that would be Psychokinesis.
Yes, I've been waiting on this one.
Oh, shit.
And this flick is on Netflix.
Really?
Yep. So
I've been waiting for this.
Netflix.
I think I added that to my queue.
Good for you.
I like people flying.
Oh.
I like my empowers.
What is this? The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
And actually, I'll give some credit. I have been keeping my eye on this flick for a while, and I got to give credit to our boy Evil Corny because he posted about it and because he was watching it, and it kind of like I didn't know it was on Netflix, so that got me thinking that we should do it because it's on Netflix now. So I kept looking for it on VOD, and it didn't pop up because it's on Netflix. So. I think we'll check this one out. It's an action comedy fantasy, so it's not quite horror, but I think it'll be good to kind of put it in here. And obviously, we like Train to Busan a whole lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm confident.
Made a lot of our lists a couple years ago.
And Cecil says, "Oh, cool! I want to watch Psychokinesis." So there you go.
I'm excited. I wasn't neither choice.
I think we'll do the other one.
Yeah,
too.
neither choice would have upset me. It's just a matter for me when. That's like one of the only movies I'll like with the way my schedule is set up now. That's certainly the only movie I'll watch that day and one of the only movies I'll watch that week. So if we watch a fucking boring dog, then that's my whole movie watching for the week.
Right.
And if the movie ends up being like 2.5 hours long, if it cuts into my either walking or writing or masturbating time.
Jesus, this might be the shortest South Korean movie I've ever seen.
What is it, 3.5 hours?
No, it's an hour and 41 minutes.
Wow.
Most South Korean films are over 2 hours. At
Yeah.
least,
Was it made
so-
for that market? Was it made for?
Yeah, it was. It was. Well, as far as I know, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's made for South Korea, and I think Netflix just brought it over here for the American audience. So,
Maybe that was one of Trump's conditions. The movies had to be shorter.
Jesus Christ. All right.
I'm just happy it's on Netflix, so Raven Shadow can't screw me up on my day of watching.
Did I affect you that day?
Oh yeah, we all established days. Remember, you said Sunday.
Yeah.
Wolfie said Monday. I said Tuesday. And then what do? You watch on Tuesday.
Yeah, no, shit happened.
Yeah, shit happened. You gotta tell me that shit, because
Yeah.
Well, I did, but I figured you come home and like you gotta like.
yeah, no, I came home and went to watch it, and you were like, I'm having problems watching. Motherfucker, I need to watch.
But I figured it's like make dinner first, maybe probably take a shower because you're probably dirty being in the woods, you know, and you gotta fix something.
All right.
I lived with Aries for a couple of days once. He just gears down and gets on the couch.
I figured you had to like put some.
And he didn't say anything, so you know I'm telling the truth.
I know, and I apologize.
Get ready. Put on those knee pads.
All right. So, what we're gonna do instead of playing a break, actually, we ended up getting a pretty good amount of voicemail. So, I'm going to go ahead and play some voicemail. I'm going to kick it off with one of the voicemails from last week. This one's a little bit on the longer end of things, so that's why I figured instead of playing a break, we'll go ahead and play this. And this is from Andy Treifenbach from Destroy the Brain. And this was for episode 300, so keep that in mind. And he's going to talk about Fangoria. And
I've heard of that.
Oh, by the way, and speaking of Fangoria, their subscription drive is now live.
Yeah.
You can order Fangoria four issues for $60 a year. So, and these are 100-page, like big size issues. So
I can't wait.
So it is available now. So if you guys want to, I just go to Fangoria.com and you can subscribe right from there.
Pretty psyched. Mad Magazine too. I found out today.
Yeah.
Relaunched with a #1 as a print only thing. So. Good for our youth.
All right, so let's hear from Andy, and then we're going to come back after, and we'll play some more voicemail, and we'll talk about our streaming recommendations, and wrap things up.
What's up, Trick or Treat Radio? This is Andy Triefenbach from DestroyTheBrain.com and a podcast called We Need to Talk About Horror, which you can find on iTunes and wherever you find your finest podcasts. We're also on Stitcher as well. Mars invited me to kind of say some thoughts about Fangoria, which I'm assuming that some other people probably have very personal stories as I do, but maybe not. I don't know. But before we dive into any of that, let's address the fucking elephant in the room. Congrats on episode 300, this milestone. As somebody who started a podcast back in 2007 and never really saw it out all the way through, it has different iterations. I don't think I even reached half that, so congrats to all of you guys for hitting this, man. It's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. So Fangoria, for me, I was born in 1981, and I think I started reading Fangoria in the late 80s, definitely in the early 90s. But I remember my mom, she was really big into supernatural horror and fantasy, and she was an avid Stephen King reader. And my dad was more of a sci-fi guy. He would watch Blade Runner, that's like one of his favorite films, Forbidden Planet, and Clockwork Orange, which I think I saw when I was like 5 or 6, and I don't know what that did. Well, I mean, you can see how I turned out, I guess. But, my parents had a good genre relationship, and I took a liking to horror films for whatever reason. I just really enjoyed them. I remember when I was in the late 80s, I had a couple of friends that I went to school with that seemed to have similar interests. They were kind of into video games, and they were into, horror movies, but they were kind of into horror movies just for a scare, where I was into a horror movie. I found it intriguing. And, obviously it's taboo subject sometimes, so, it just tested the water. And I think when you watch horror movies in formative years, sometimes those horror movies stick with you. And like all of us, I think horror is a big part of our lives. And, I fucking made a website and a podcast and all this other bullshit out of it. So it is definitely a big part of my life. But I remember, specifically with those friends, I went to a slumber party, and I was like, they rented a whole bunch of movies, and some of them were action movies, some of them were sci-fi movies, and they rented A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, and I never saw a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and I was just so gung-ho because I knew what Nightmare on Elm Street was. At that point in time, everybody knew who Freddy Krueger was, regardless if they saw a Nightmare on Elm Street or any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. And I really wanted to watch a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So Part 5, I remember bugging the shit out of these guys. I'm like, hey, when are we watching Nightmare? When are we watching Nightmare? And I, of course, abbreviated it to Nightmare because that was the cool thing to do. And I'm like, when are we watching? And they're like, oh, we'll watch it after this. And finally, we started watching it. Everybody else fell asleep. I'm kind of glued to the TV, and quite honestly, it's like one of the most boring of the franchise. But I still thought it was kind of interesting. And then I definitely was disappointed by it. And then I remember my mom picked me up the next day, and we're in the car, and I'm like, Mom, we watched Nightmare on Elm Street 5. I thought it'd be cooler. And she's like, oh, well, I haven't seen any of the newer Nightmare on Elm Streets, but have you seen the first one? And I, of course, answered no, and we went to the video store and rented it, and I remember, like, as soon as the music started, and you heard Freddy's fingernails or the knives scraping the metal, I got scared shitless and ran into the bathroom and told my mom, just keep watching it! I'm okay! So she kept watching it. I didn't want her to pause, and I'd have to continue. The music and all the sound was scary enough. But eventually I did see A Nightmare on Elm Street. So those friends, unfortunately, I had to leave them behind and move to a town called Barnhart, which is just as lame as it sounds. The only thing they had going for it were 2 gas stations. Those were the main events in that town. Otherwise, you're just riding around in trucks and listening to country music and just bonfires and getting drunk. That was pretty much it. And as a kid, I wasn't really getting drunk either. But this was, I want to say, like late 80s, maybe early 90s, because I also remember in 1990, I started picking up Fangoria, and I read about Darkman, which looked like a really cool movie, and I really liked the cover art or the poster art, and I remember going to see Darkman because it was released in the summer, so it was being hyped up quite a bit. And my mom and dad, like, my mom was like, oh, yeah, that should be fine. It's, even though it's rated R, it's a summer movie. It looks like an action movie. And, she was fine with the content, and I watched the movie, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And being as inquisitive as I was, I always had an affinity for finding out who directed what, who wrote what, and who starred in what. And I would kind of track down what they've done prior, or what they might be attached to in the future, courtesy of the Terror Teletype from Fangoria. Well, I found out through Darkman that a fellow named Sam Raimi directed it, and what he previously directed was Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and like a movie called Crime Wave, which I could never track down on VHS. But I was able to track down the Evil Dead. I remember the cover clearly. It looked really interesting, and it was the EMI Thorn big clamshell case. I picked it up, and since my mom was a Stephen King fan, I'm like, Mom, I want to watch this. I don't know what's all in it, but this is from the guy who directed Darkman, and I think you should let me watch it because Stephen King even approves of it. I tried the same fucking gimmick on my mom with Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, which I'm holding issue 97 of Fangoria right now in my hand, and there is a ad for Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer on the back. And the reason why I was like, Mom, let me rent Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's got 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert. She thankfully declined because, yeah, that would have fucked me up if I saw that early. But I did run Evil Dead, and I loved it. And what was great about Evil Dead is I saw all the seams, right? You could see the seams in the makeup effects, you could see it in the filmmaking, and it was just adventurous as somebody who's discovering film. And as the years would kind of progress, I I would rent like 6 VHS tapes a weekend. We would make a whole night out of it. Every Friday night we'd get pizza, and I'd have 6 VHS tapes, and I'd do a little mini marathon starting at 8 p.m., ending at 5 a.m., then sleeping until like noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. But in 94, there was also a pretty formative movie for me. And it was a movie called Brain Scan. And I think I was in the 8th grade, which would put me around like 13 years old. And there was, I remember distinctly, I was in a classroom and we were working on a project where we were looking through newspapers, and we were paired up with random people. And there was a girl in my class. I got paired up with her. She was new. I don't think she'd been in that class before. She was just new to town or whatever, and people are like, oh, it's a new girl, don't get teamed up with her. I, of course, got teamed up with her. And we were looking through the newspaper trying to find, I think we were just finding articles, and we came across the Brain Scan movie ad. Like, I just liked looking at movie ads, that whole entertainment section. And we came across the Brain Scan ad, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see this. I saw it in the recent issue of Fango. And the girl was like, oh yeah, you read Fango? I'm like, what? And we started talking. And turned out she liked horror movies. So not only was this like the first person I met in Barnhart, the fucking lame-o town, that knew about Fangoria. She knew about horror movies, right? She knew about Fangoria. And she was excited as I was to watch Brain Scan. So we tried to like loosely make a date, which, we're 13 years old. We don't have cars. We don't have anything. But we're like, okay, Friday night, let's go. And she was totally cool with it. So I remember getting home and talking to my mom that day. And I'm like, Mom, won't believe that I met this girl, and she knows about horror movies. She likes the same stuff I like. I want to go see this movie called Brain Scan. And she said, sure, yeah, that's fine. Just get her information, get her mother's information, and we'll go from there. And, I can drive you to the theater, no problem. So the next day, I get to that classroom, and that girl wasn't there. And I think, this was early on in the week, because I remember that day she wasn't there. The next day she wasn't there, and then eventually it was Friday, and my mom was like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, that girl's not there. And by Friday, she still wasn't there, and then the next week, I figured out that she actually left town. So she was only there for either a day or maybe a couple days, I'm not sure. It's still, I was still kind of young to really remember, and I don't remember her name or anything, but it was kind of heartbreaking, to be honest with you, because I read a lot of Fangoria, and Fangoria, as sad as it might sound, was pretty much my best friend. I read a lot of stuff and learned a lot of stuff from Fangoria, and it kind of formed me. And I remember eventually seeing Brain Scan on video, and Michael Brower, the main character played by fucking Edward Furlong, had a whole attic to himself, which was basically a house in my eyes at the time. He had a fridge and a kitchen. Why even fucking talk to your parents? And he comes upstairs, and he sits down on a desk, and he's got Fangoria magazines laid out on the desk, and he just picks at random while he's listening to voicemails from his dad, who he never sees and is out of town. And I always thought that was the coolest thing. Not the dad part, but the Fangoria magazines. So I remember taking a cue from Michael Brower and laying Fangoria magazines across my desk just like that, so I could just pick at random based off the cover of what issue I wanted to read. And the other thing that I admired about that movie was that he had a best friend named Kyle, and Kyle was really into horror movies. And I always wanted a Kyle in my life, and I never got one. So I had to settle for Fangoria being my best friend for a long time, and I would feverishly look at the teletype, which is how you got your news. I'm actually holding issue 97 right now that has the Night of the Living Dead on the front cover from 1990. And in the Terror teletype, I just want to let you guys know, in case you didn't hear the news, that Clive Barker has joined the growing list of genre filmmakers signing up with Universal. His 2-picture deal at the studio will kick off with a new version of The Mummy. So, guys, look forward to that new version of The Mummy coming out, 91. Oh, fuck. It's past 91. Anyway, I just remember reading tons of Fangoria, lots of fond memories. Eventually, I think, in the late 90s, I believe it introduced me to Ringu. And I remember, I think I ordered it out of a Fangoria catalog, and I got like some 4th or 5th generation copy on VHS. And that's how I watched Ringu. I don't even remember if it was subtitled, to be honest with you. But it was interesting, I ordered some movies from catalogs out of Fangoria directly. I met somebody who was a town over, which is director Eric Stanzi, who you may or may not know, but he directed Savage Harvest, Scrapbook, and I've become pretty decent friends with him. And he's got a new movie coming out, which is really cool. But he also did second unit stuff on Jim Mickles' Stakeland and We Are What We Are remake. So that formed an interesting relationship. And, I heard about him through Tales from the Underground, which was a section in Fangoria that showed you like independent movies. And I remember watching J.R. Bookwalter stuff and the Tempe Video, Sub Rosa stuff like b-movie.com. Fangoria was definitely an entryway into exploring more about horror than the mainstream. And I will always be thankful for Fangoria for that. Even though, in the early 2000s, I definitely kind of jumped ship because I heard about Canada's answer to Fangoria, which at that point in time was kind of going, you could tell they were courting the major studios. And Rue Morgue kind of came in at an interesting point in my life, and I started reading Rue Morgue, and I really liked the analytical sense that they had to movies that were being released. Also, they kind of introduced me to a lot of international horror movies. And, Rue Morgue was also a big portion of my life, but that's not Fangoria, so that'll have to be a tale for another time. But Fangoria, I'm super stoked that they're coming back, and it's under new management, new ownership. Really looking forward to it. Probably buy a subscription, honestly. Especially if they're just doing, I think they're doing it quarterly or something, or bi-monthly. I can't really remember, but I'm super excited about it, and I hope that, there will be a community that forms around Fangoria as well, and we can all band together and kind of talk shit out. But those are my memories with Fangoria. It was very important to me, and formed a lot of my teenage formative years. So anyway, thank you guys for letting me blab on for a few minutes, probably more than that. But congrats on episode 300. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Adios.
300. Thanks, Andy. That was fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Definitely brought up a lot of great memories and some great movies as well that he talked about that he found through Fangoria, and even made some friendships with.
That's exactly where I found all that J.R. Bookwalter stuff.
Yeah. So we apologize once again, Andy, that it kind of fell through the cracks last week, but glad we got a chance to play it this week, and we appreciate it, man. And Andy's got a great site with Destroy the Brain, and he's a great podcaster.
We need to talk about horror as
yeah,
it's great too. Andy is honestly one of the
he's one of the originators, right?
Yeah, he's one of the ones that really made me want to do this. Because he, what I liked about it is if you're listening, Andy, one of my favorite episodes, and not to bring up bad memories, didn't have anything to do about horror. When I knew I loved your show, you recounted one day of having to go to the emergency room because you had a piece of chicken stuck in your throat.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and just a fucking, you're a great storyteller, and
you can relate to that, right?
It wasn't chicken,
and it wasn't stuck.
I don't know what to say to that. And Creepy Girl commented on the length of the thing, not in a derogatory way, just in a I think 3 minutes is if you use the SpeakPipe app.
Yeah, we like to keep them under 3 minutes if possible, just because, sometimes, some days we get less feedback, but like, for instance, today, I think we have close to 10. And obviously, if we get 10 and they're all 5 to 10 minutes, then like we just can't play them. Like I don't want to have to start picking and choosing which ones we can and can't play. I want to play everyone. So if we keep them short, under 3 minutes, I can guarantee that we can play all of them. So, I just don't want to get to the point where we have to pick favorites and be like, oh, sorry, we can't play this one because it's too long. There have been ones where we've had to skip them because they're too long.
Week,
and play them another week or something like that. I'd rather not, but it does happen.
Yeah.
So,
and you realize if you make those, you're running that risk. So,
So don't test us.
All right, so thank
need to
you.
talk about MZ.
Thanks to Andy, and then now let's hear from our boy Humble Eddie, who left one for last week. And I apologize, Eddie, that we didn't get around to it once again. My fault. I just missed it in the deluge of email, and it just slipped by me. So let's go ahead and hear from Humble Eddie.
Hello, Trick or Treat Radio. Humble Eddie here to honor the glorious occasion of 300 episodes by comprising my top 5 films covered on Trick or Treat Radio. Completely unsolicited, I might add.
Wow.
My number 5 dates all the way back to episode 6, which is fitting because that's probably how old I was when I first saw the film. This is one of my absolute earliest adult horror film experiences, preceded only by John Carpenter's Halloween. And the film I refer to is Richard Attenborough's Magic, which in my estimation is still by far the best evil puppet movie by, like, every conceivable measure.
There he goes. He's got to say it. Go ahead.
I picked Magic.
Yeah, I did pick Magic, so fuck you.
And you guys are the only podcast I've ever heard cover it, so that's why Trick or Treat Radio is truly the best. Also, I thought I was the only one on the planet who looked up to Fats as a kid, so lo and behold, me and Monster Zero have something in common. I don't even want to contemplate what that means for my future, so let's just move on to my number 4 favorite film covered, which is on episode 23 as a bonus review, and that is Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. A superhero story set in the antebellum South, where I still feel Leonardo DiCaprio gives his most fearless and finest performance of his career as Calvin J. Candy. My number 3 comes from episode 127 with a special guest appearance by El Goro. And the film is Jonathan Glazer's Under the Skin.
Oh, yeah.
A mind-blowing movie that I believe will truly stand the test of time as one of the great horror sci-fi films ever to be made. The image of the man's skin floating slowly in the black abyss as we watch his face fold in on itself is still like one of the most potent doses of cinematic nightmare fuel I have ever witnessed. And it's one that's penetrated my subconscious like few moments in film have. It's as if Stanley Kubrick directed Species. I mean, it's amazing. My second favorite film covered on Trick or Treat Radio was covered on episode 45 with special guest appearance by Jay. And the film is, of course, Peter Yates, classic The Friends of Humble Eddie Coyle. Just a heartbreaking, melancholic crime film, really, which contains the most tense bank heist I've ever seen in a movie. And I guess other than Jackie...
I like how he said The Friends of Humble Eddie Coyle. It just hit me now.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that was great. I love talking about that one. That was a GGTMC Flick Pick of the Month, too, Mars. Way back in the day.
Yep. And by the way...
Yep.
I remember how I don't remember if I found it on air or heard it, but remember I was saying that like I thought that was it, but we still gonna get Lodge William on. He's the other one. He was the other guy.
Yeah, you did say that right before.
I couldn't remember. I just remembered.
And also, just wanted to real quick comment before I forget is the Under the Skin review was El Goro in person. That was the first time we'd ever met El Goro. You guys remember he was in studio? MZ wasn't here.
Oh yes, but I was here. Yes.
Yeah, but that was a great time. We had El Goro here live in studio.
Big fella.
I had a wonderful time. Thank you.
All right, let's get back.
Okay.
I can't really think of a crime film that feels this effortlessly slice of life. Just a phenomenal flick all around. And yeah, so that leads me to my number 1 favorite film covered on Trick or Treat Radio, which just so happens to be my favorite movie of all time.
Wow.
The film was covered on episode 30, and that film is Kinji Fukusaku's 2001 special edition cut of Battle Royale. School kids slaughtering one another while trying to confess their unrequited love. Could a movie be made about anything better? I don't think so.
It's one of my favorite movies too. It's not like you own it.
I do own it, and it is my all-time favorite film.
And he does have a tattoo.
And I do have a tattoo on my
He also
body.
has a fucking Gorgonite. I feel like all credibility for having a tattoo is thrown out the window.
Yeah,
once that
why
fucking
does
Wizard
all
kid
the
goes down.
eyes aim right towards the Gorgonite, for Christ's sake? Look at all these other tattoos I have. I do have other ink on me, you know.
All right, take your clothes off. Let's see. It's
Take your clothes off.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
This is a bad show.
It's summertime.
Oh, no!
Look at you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. look
Suck
at
it in
those-
further.
Yeah, look at you. My God. Give me that dollar back. Look at you. Yeah. That's
Put it under the flap of skin under his nipple.
Like that.
He just put Dynamo's phone.
How do you like
under his
that?
armpit. Now lick it. Lick it.
What is going on?
Oh my God. Someone can get pink eye next time they call somebody.
I just licked the Gorgonite and Johnny missed it. On camera, I just licked the Gorgonite and everybody missed it.
I bet it tastes like peanut butter. What's it taste like?
The sweat berries taste like sweat berries.
Yeah, welcome back, Aries.
Aries said his eyes closed. You're okay. You're
It's all
okay.
right.
He's closed.
Only his dick's out.
I can't believe Johnny just missed me licking the Gorgonite.
Play it back.
Yeah, play it back.
How'd that feel, huh? It's the first mouth that's been on you in years.
You know, the sad thing is that you're right.
Probably kind of okay, right?
No, it wasn't okay.
Saw what I did to that bottle.
It was a tepid lick.
What the fuck? Someone literally just tweeted out a picture of that. What the fuck? Wait, I'm gonna pull this up.
Oh, what?
What the hell? Who tweeted it that fast?
Thank you.
What the hell happened?
Hold on. Let me see. I have like so many Twitter accounts on here. Let me get the right one. There we go. I wonder who that is. Oh, it's Leanna.
What'd she do?
This week on Trick or Treat Radio.
See? Let me see it close.
Man.
See it close. Oh, Leanna.
Look how close he's got the photos.
How close do you have to look to see his nipples?
I'm not wearing my good
nipples.
You're
I'm
like
wear-
this.
I'm not wearing my progressive lenses.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Look
you're
at
wearing
those.
regressive lenses.
If you really want to see it close, we could switch seats.
Good news, he's not wearing his progressive body.
Is that a B? You're up to a B cup now.
Yeah, wow,
You
man.
got huge tats.
Adrian Zero.
That's what eating does, you know.
That's what eating and sitting on your ass does.
Sitting on my ass. You
Yep.
wish, pal. Believe me. You fucking wish.
I don't wish anything. I wish you'd lose some fucking weight.
You do sort of look like the
Yeah.
guy that the girl that the main character gets to second base with in the last American.
man.
That's some good. That's some good side boob.
Yeah, man. You gotta consider salad.
Sidewinders.
Oh,
Side
man.
bunions?
Yeah,
Sidewinders.
Oh, sidewinders.
All your one fucking white pants and two pointy shoes pulled up from being a heel in 1970s Detroit.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna retweet this.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
What's
To our 1,600 followers or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, what sucks about it is that hopefully his
We're gonna
special lady
lose.
friend doesn't see it and make him not come anymore. Well, I mean, not come to the show.
That I can't believe how quick Leanna was on tweeting that out.
Jesus. That was fast. What the hell, Leanna?
Yeah, she said, check your Twitter, Wolfie.
I can't believe I
like
just,
3 minutes ago.
You know, if you had told me at episode 1 I was going to lick Monster Zero and everyone no-sell it in the chat room, even before I knew there was a chat room, I wouldn't
Well, I
believe
didn't see it.
Well, everybody saw it, except you.
Humble Eddie says, sorry for the quality of the voicemail. I was working beneath an underpass at the time. A man's got to eat. Hey, Eddie, I don't fucking care. I love the content, man.
I do too.
That was a great list. And you there was some deep cuts on there, man. I didn't know you've been listening that long.
Yeah, dude.
That was some deep, like most of them were like 100, I think. And then the Goro one was one something, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty fucking great list there, Eddie. And those are some great films. We've mostly done new VOD stuff, so we haven't got a chance to do some of the classics like Magic or Friends of Humble Lady Coil. But I don't know. Maybe we can mix in some oldies but goodies here and there.
Wang Wang.
You've been dying for Wang Wang.
I've never watched Wang Wang.
Julie Meow Meow says, you know it's late when clothes start coming off.
Ooh.
Leanna says, I never got to post Naked Mars, so...
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember. I do it on command.
So I'm the substitute, huh?
Yes. All right, and Humble Eddie also sent an email for this week. So let's just finish up the Humble Eddie block here. And subject recommendation for the show. And Humble Eddie says, hey, Wolfie, I got a recommendation that I think you guys are going to like, given your past love of South Korean cinema on the show. The film is The Chase from 2017, directed by Kim Hong-soon. It is a rich meditation on regret that disguises itself as a character-driven buddy cop procedural serial killer thriller crafted with a blissful precision that can only come from the finest of South Korean cinema. As an added bonus, the victims who fall prey to this maniac suffer a bone-chilling fate worse than death. This film is an extremely tasty treat. It's currently streaming on Netflix. The Chase, huh? Have any of you guys heard of or seen The Chase?
With Charlie Sheen and Henry
No,
Rollins?
from 2017 South Korean film. I don't think Charlie Sheen was in that fucking movie.
Low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit.
Oh, wait, like
that's
licking
his favorite.
nipples.
That's his.
I didn't
And
lick.
fucking...
Hey, come on, Rollins was in that movie.
Thank you, Aries.
I didn't lick anyone's nipples.
Well, the show ain't over yet.
How much for me in the chat room to lick Monster Zero's
Get the
nipples?
fuck out of here. You're not doing any of
Just
that
close
shit.
your eyes, shut the lights off. And think about Grimlock.
And he says, "I would love it." I think he means if we did some older films here and there too.
Wang Wang.
You and your go play with your Wang Wang.
Wang.
Jesus. All right, Humble Eddie. Thanks, buddy. We're so sorry we missed your voicemail last week, but I'm so glad that we got a chance to play it this week, and that was a great list. And The Chase, we will absolutely keep an eye on that, and maybe if we have a slow week with some VOD stuff, maybe we will see what we can do there.
What the hell is this? What do you mean I taste like a McFish? You prick.
You do.
Well, be glad it was just my arm.
The weird black part of it, too, not the fluffy fake fish part.
Wowzers.
Why are McFish always taken from a fish that has some sort of weird tumor or something, so there's always a black part?
I never had a McFish.
All right. Well, let's go to the next voicemail, and that would be our boy Cease. Big Cease.
Hey guys, at Trick or Treat Radio, Cecil calling in. I wanted to give you a recommendation on streaming, so I opened up Netflix, of course, and started looking at what was around. They have lots of easy picks. That was the thing. Lots of holes in ones. I could just say Hellboy 2 and be done with it, or Armageddon, or Mortal Kombat, Cube 2. Battle Royale is on here. And so Battle Royale is epic. If you haven't seen Battle Royale, I would have to recommend that. That's not what I wanted to recommend. I wanted to say, Mars, you're too clever. You knew I was going for the dry Francis Ford Coppola stuff, and I wanted to recommend one of the Godfathers because the Godfather's on here. And they got Godfather, Godfather 2, and the whole thing is which one is better, right? And people are always like, 2 is great, or it's better, or they're equal. But look, I think if you're hard on Godfather 2 being the best, you're doubling down on De Niro. And you're taking away Brando. But you're also taking away Sonny.
Thank you.
My favorite of all of the brothers
What
in the
about Fast
beginning.
Eddie?
Sonny Corleone.
Fast Tony, I mean.
So you got to still see Godfather 1 if you haven't seen it. And there's so many people I talk to about movies, and you start talking about movies, and the first movie that some people haven't seen sometimes is The Godfather. And I know that doesn't bother Mars, but it bothers me because I like The Godfather. I like Coppola. Anyway, did you know Heathers and Oldboy are in the cult section of Netflix?
Yeah, I do.
So they have Heathers and Oldboy.
Wow.
But if you want a recommendation that's only going to come from me, I'm going to have to recommend the Miramax premiere of The Crying Game, because it has a performance with Stephen Ray and Forrest Whitaker. If you haven't seen The Crying Game, the first act is just brutal. It's just fantastic. It's such a great film unto itself. It's just like a great short film. great first act. I can't get over the first act of The Crying Game. I don't want to spoil the music, but right when the music kicks in the beginning, I've never been in that part of the world, but it puts you there, and the atmosphere is great, performance is great, just a unique film. And I think it gets a bad rap because it's like a joke to a lot of people, and maybe that's why they haven't seen it.
That's
but
a great
I would
great
recommend
movie.
Yeah, I love it.
1992's The Crying Game if you've already seen The Godfather. All right, thanks guys. Bye.
Thanks, Cease.
He recommended The Godfather and Heathers.
And The Crying Game.
Yeah.
You know, Crying Game's great. I haven't
meant
seen
Crying
it.
Game and Heathers. Damn it.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but it is quite good. And I will admit, I've never seen any of the Godfather movies.
Blasphemy.
Neither have I.
No,
There you go.
I wish I hadn't.
No interest.
Coppola is like Coppola is, in my humble opinion, like I think the reason he gets over so much is he's like that last bastion of big old filmmaking, and that's very sexy. But I just don't like those early method acted performances of those guys.
Humble Eddie says Mars covered the Godfather trilogy on Film for Thought.
Yeah, it was not a good week.
You had to rewatch them all.
I had not seen anyone but the first one.
It's weird they picked you for it then.
Yeah, I think that they wanted to find a reason to make fun of me, because normally when they try to make fun of Predator or something, I just tell them that they're dumb. But
And Humble Eddie says Apocalypse Now is his masterpiece.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. All right, let's move on and let's hear from Creepy Girl.
Oh my gosh, I gotta say this in 3 minutes, but here are my streaming suggestions. I've already suggested these to you guys, and I bet you probably haven't watched all of them. I'm trying to pick ones that maybe you haven't seen, but maybe you have. Okay, on Netflix, Christy. Really good cat and mouse, stalking kind of killing everybody movie. Aftershock, really good Eli Roth film. I think they filmed it in Chile. Really,
Yeah, we did cover that one 3 years ago, maybe when it came out.
Earthquake, right?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay.
Yeah,
Not
all right,
really good.
Let's continue.
He didn't direct it either.
He produced it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue.
dark stuff in it, but I loved it. I thought it was a lot going on in it. Dark Signal is a good slasher flick with a really good twist. Takes place like in a radio station, and then these people break into a house, break into the wrong house type thing. The second season of Slasher was really, really good. The first season was kind of lame, but the second season really cool. Hulu, of course, Handmaid's Tale, awesome. The Den, a really creepy computer type thing that'll make you scared people are watching you. Fear Inc. is a really good horror movie, fans movie that's really fun. I really enjoyed that. In Prime, Queen of Spades, awesome Russian film, really creeped me out when I watch it. It's one of those urban legend type things, but it was really good, creepy. Afflicted, a really awesome independent film. This guy's first film, but it was so good. It was really creepy, really good. Hell House LLC, scary. That is such a scary movie. It's about these people that make a haunted house, and then the house is actually haunted that they're haunting. Okay, and Shudder, Lake Bodom, really good slasher flick. Starts off kind of like, it's like every other movie, and then twist, and it's pretty cool. Among the Living is a foreign film.
Wow,
Awesome film. It's my favorite movie on Shudder. It's about these kids, and they're wrong place, wrong time. There's a killer, this really creepy looking guy, and then it comes after them. It's really good. Donkey Punch, that's a really sick, twisted kind of, it's not really scary, but it's crazy what happens. Chained, another great film. If you haven't seen that, you have to see that. It's about a serial killer that kidnaps a kid, but there's this huge twist at the end, and it's crazy. Minutes Past Midnight, also on Shudder. Best anthologies where I liked all the stories. Gotta see that. Okay, I'm running out of time. Love you guys. Bye.
That was amazing. She literally fit it all in 3 minutes.
Among the Living is
job.
awesome.
Yeah, you rep that one hard. Did you do? Was it on?
It was on here.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was on 13 Days of Halloween or
Oh,
something.
maybe I did end up doing it on that.
I remember
too.
you talked about it for a while. That's why, for an extended period of time. So that's why I thought it was.
We
one of those
did
things.
it in between. We did it in like some time of like when I thought we'd never watch Inside because we'd never have a reason.
Oh,
to.
right. It was the filmmakers. Yeah, same filmmakers.
Yeah, but we were. I remember that I watched it like the same day that I watched their Leatherface movie, which was just kind of mediocre.
Oh, that might be what it was. Okay, yeah, I think that's right. Well, thank you, Creepy Girl. A lot of suggestions on there. So if you guys are looking for some streaming stuff, Creepy Girl had a lot of selections. So
Creepy Girl Monster Zero wasn't paying attention to you. He was playing Scrabble.
I was paying attention to her.
But you were playing Scrabble.
I was playing Scrabble.
No. Words with Friends.
All right, let's be a little bit more specific. Words with Friends. But yes, I was paying attention to what she was saying.
Humble Eddie says, lot of floppy, flaccid peen in that donkey punch. Tepid treat. Oh, shit.
He's not wrong.
All right, well, let's hear from... This is a... I don't know if this is someone that's ever called in before, but it's from someone named David Guido. So let's hear from David.
I'm looking for a recommendation for Netflix. If you guys can give me one, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. Horror movies, that is. Thank you. Bye.
Oh. All right, David.
I got you, David.
You got... Oh, you want? Is this a good opportunity for you to give some, Mars?
Yeah.
You can just do one. You don't have to... You can do multiples, whatever.
The DC comic show Black Lightning. Is that what he's looking for?
He said horror.
Oh. There was something that I came across. Go back to me because there's something that I came across earlier that was on here. By the way, Christie that was mentioned.
Yeah.
Is a Hallmark movie.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's why I never watched it.
Oh.
But my special lady friend really liked it.
And by the way, David Guido sounded a little familiar to me.
Okay,
That's all I'll say.
I got it.
Okay, go.
I recommend that you watch, also starring Henry Rollins, the Mike Mendez directed Last Heist. It kind of flew under our radar, and I ended up seeing it after. And it's super low budget, but I really, really like it. It's not direct horror, but it involves a serial killer getting locked in a bank with a group of bank robbers, and that serial killer is played by Hank Rollins. So
really,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's called The Window Man. And I'll let you figure out what he collects off of his victims to...
Does he lick phones and rub them against his Bozak?
That's a villain.
You know what? You guys act like that's the most disgusting... You guys are just fronting for the people. That's not even the third most disgusting.
That's not the third most disgusting thing you've done today.
No. All right.
All right. Does anyone else really want to get theirs out?
Yes,
Or okay,
I do.
go for it.
I want to talk about not so much of a movie, but of a series.
Okay.
I believe this is a made-for-Netflix series, and it's called Mindhunter.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever get a chance to see it, I strongly suggest you check it out. I'll just give you the synopsis that they have here. In the late 1970s, two FBI agents expand criminal science by delving into the psychology of murder and getting uneasily close to all too real monsters. They basically surround themselves with people who have become known serial killers. The one that they focus on most of all during this season, they focus on others, but the one that really stood out was Ed Kemper. And Ed Kemper was a serial killer back in the 70s and you figure this guy is a beast. He's 6'9", and here he is being a serial killer. And the guy who plays him, he should have been up for some sort of an award because he puts in probably one of the all-time greatest performances I have ever seen. He is absolutely chilling in this series.
It's funny. Humble Eddie just said that them Edward Kemper scenes are incredible.
They are
literally right as you were saying it.
Yeah, they are. They're fucking frightening. I was on literal, and I'm not like this, because I'm pretty jaded by now, and I feel like I've seen just about everything. But the guy who plays Ed Kemper in Mindhunter is so terrifying. I mean, I was parched. I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I was sweating. I was actually getting
Mindhunter
scared.
is horror because I have heard that is not.
I consider it horror, sure, because it delves with the psyche of
Do you consider Silence of the Lambs horror?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
Because it deals with the psyche of serial killers and how to operate with them. And
I am a little disappointed over the fact that it was just about to be amazing that someone asked for a horror movie recommendation and you gave a television show, not horror. But
I did give a television show, and it is horror.
Full of House.
So I'd ask you to eat me, but I tell you to eat me, but I'm afraid that you would actually do that. So
like the other arm, like the wizard.
Humble Eddie says, "No, I'm going to get you a tuna sandwich." Is that something from?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Chilling. Creepy Girl
absolutely
says,
chilling.
"I tried to watch that, but got bored. Does it get better as you go along?"
It gets so good.
Cecil says, "Chilling," and Julie says, "Yeah, Mindhunter."
Next season, they're doing the BTK Killer, which ought to be real fun.
What does that mean?
Bind, torture, kill.
Oh, okay.
I thought Burger King was going to be BKK Killer.
I guess I'll take this opportunity to do mine. It's actually a film that we discussed on the show way back. I'll find the episode number in just a moment. But the reason I thought of this film is because I just found out that this director, I'd been waiting for him to do something else, and this director has another film that was a huge success. It was the best reviewed film at Sundance, and it now just got picked up by RLJE, or RLJ Entertainment. And it's going to be theatrically released this summer. I don't know if it's going to be just a limited kind of deal or if it's going to be a wide release, but the name of the film is called Mandy, and it stars Nicolas Cage, and the director is Panos Cosmatos. And this film looks fucking crazy. It says, Mandy is set in the primal wilderness of 1983, where Red Miller, a broken and haunted man, hunts an unhinged religious sect who slaughtered the love of his life. Actually, there's a better synopsis that I read than that, and it says something about the religious sect being demon bikers. So just take that for what you will. And here's the poster art.
This is like Psychomania all over again.
Is it on that? What'd you say it was?
No, it's not out yet.
Oh.
I'm saying it's going to be theatrically released this summer.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll get a chance to review it, if it gets VOD in the summer. So Panos Cosmatos' film before this was Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Ah, yes.
From 2010. And it's on Shudder. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but I just happened to look on Shudder first, and it's available there.
Shudder. It is.
And so let me just read the synopsis here, and then I'll quickly give my thoughts. But the synopsis: a woman must break free from a strange institution, run by a creepy self-help guru in this trippy mashup of sci-fi, body horror, and midnight movie What's It? Part of a recent trend of films like Barbarian Sound Studio and Amer, which take their inspiration from stylish 60s and 70s horror. Beyond the Black Rainbow owes a debt to David Cronenberg's Stereo, George Lucas's THX 1138, and Stanley Kubrick's 2001. But the film's got its own unique style, veering from puzzling to petrifying in the blink of an eye. Love it or hate it, you're sure to have a strong opinion by the end. Now, I remember this being one of my favorite films that we reviewed that year. And I love the soundtrack. I love just the way the film looked, the way it was lit, the cinematography. It's a gorgeous fucking movie. And it just kind of blew me away. Like I think it's one of the first films that really kind of that we reviewed that it really kind of like blew me away. It was like, wow, this is awesome.
It's certainly an original.
Yes, it is episode 40 actually. I think is where we did this. Let's see. Yeah, it's before we even mentioned the film that we discussed in the actual blurb. But yeah, so episode 40, Beyond the Blueberry Buckle, from
Blueberry Buckle's delicious.
Funny enough, exactly 5 years ago today.
Wow.
No shit.
That's
wow.
crazy. So if you guys want to go back and listen to that, Trick or Treat Radio number 40, Beyond the Blueberry Buckle, and Beyond the Black Rainbow is it's not for everyone. I'll say that.
I think that was one of the ones my tag team partner got real mad.
I think so. I think Raven Child did not like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like that movie.
Yeah, but it's a very interesting film, very fucking cool. So if you guys have not seen it yet, I would recommend Beyond the Black Rainbow. Panos Cosmatos, who is the son of
Mr. Cosmatos.
What's his dad's name?
Papa Cosmatos.
Something Cosmatos. But his dad directed Cobra.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what's my kind of
George is it George Cosmatos?
I think so.
George Costanza.
My elevator pitch for Beyond the Black Rainbow is like imagine.
Yeah, it's George P. Cosmatos.
Either one of the movies that were mentioned in that thing, as far as classic films go, in like filmed through the Phantasm filter, because it really reminds me of the first Phantasm quite a bit. Even the way the little bit outside kind of looks like a set, like.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting movie.
It feels very suffocating.
Oh yeah, very claustrophobic.
Right.
I've listened to the soundtrack a few times, and I actually tried to listen to it when I went to bed one night, and it was probably not the best idea.
Gave you nightmares?
It did give me nightmares, but it's
I actually play it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack. So yeah, all right. Anyone else have one they want to talk about, or you want to go to more voicemails?
Voicemails.
Can you think?
Did we get the number one of Humble Eddie's list?
Yeah.
I feel like we stopped it.
No, Battle Royale. One? Yeah.
Oh, Battle.
Yeah.
Was it Battle Royale?
Yeah. We listened
Remember
to it.
he did that?
Oh, right. Yeah. I forgot. 'Cause the wizard was flopping at me.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go to another voicemail, and we'll get to you guys. Let's do first time Mike.
Hey.
What's up, Trick or Treat family? This is First Time Mike. How's everybody doing?
Good, buddy.
Sorry if this is a little bit late or even next week, depending on when Johnny gets this.
You got it.
Wednesday I had a lot going on, and when I was going to record this, something else popped up. The power went out a bit at the house, nothing major. But I'm here now to talk a little bit about giving some streaming love to the 1982 movie Raw Force.
Whoa.
Yes, Raw Force. The movie Mars has talked about several times. It is an amazing movie.
That is
1982.
true.
It's available on Shudder right now.
No shit.
It might be on some of the freer sites. I'm not positive, but hey, a lot of you might have Shudder, $4.99 a month, so much a year. I mean, if only you get the free trial, and you got some. You can watch Raw Force right away. It's an amazing movie. I got Wikipedia right on in front of me, and it's the Burbank Kung Fu Club traveled to a forbidden island of disgraced martial artists to do battle with zombies, mercenaries, cannibals, and kung fu masters so deadly and sinister they had to be banished to the island of Raw Force.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It has, how can you go wrong? It has Cameron Mitchell, Captain Santa Claus from Space Mutiny. Cameron Mitchell, who in the 70s and 80s was in a bunch of really cheesy movies trying to make a buck. And he looks like I don't know, if he's not having fun, he's kind of grouchy in it, but it's still fun. You have the Burbank Kung Fu Martial Arts Club. You got the legendary Philippine actor Vic Diaz. Always fun. If you watch a 70s women in prison movies set in the Philippines, probably with Sig Haig or Pam Grier, Vic Diaz was in that movie. One of the great exploitation greats of the Philippines. Gillian Kessner in the movie Firecracker. Joel Shepard's in it. It's in a great party scene. It's a movie. I'm overwhelmed. Raw Force is a great movie. I mean, it's a movie set in a place where it's an island of dead, disgraced martial artists that has a freaking brochure for tourism. That is amazing. I mean, watch the trailer, look it up. It's fun. Raw Force, it'll blow your mind. I mean, now don't watch Raw Force like with the family, with grandma, if the pastor's coming in from church to visit. And, just go watch Raw Force. It's amazing. This is First Time Mike. wishing everybody all the best. Still a little hungover from episode 300.
Yeah.
That was 4.5 hours of fun listening.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, buddy.
But you guys all have a good one. Good night. Bye.
Yeah, Rod Force, if I may, I'm to put a gender on this movie. This is probably the
Me and Bars look at each other like,
Christ.
uh-oh.
You guys can't stop for a second, can you?
Can't stop?
Yeah, you can't stop.
This is going to be gold.
No, it's probably the manliest movie ever made. It's so ridiculously over the top with everything that your typical guy loves. You know, you got your violence, you got your nudity, you got your action sequences, your zombies, guns. I mean, it's just a real. It's a film with a lot of machismo in it. You know what I mean? It's and also look for I Spit on Your Grave's Camille Keaton, who has a small scene in this movie as well. Fantastic movie.
There you go.
So much fun. Highly recommended.
The most masculine film ever made, apparently.
I own it on Blu-ray from our good friends of Vinegar Syndrome.
I've been meaning to pick it up, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. I just might end up doing it.
Well, thanks first time, Mike, and thanks for the kind words about episode 300. We had a blast doing it, and we always love hearing from you, buddy. I knew you'd have a good pick, so thanks for calling in. And let's see, in the chat room, looks like the folks are talking about some movies in there. And all right, so let's go to the next one, and this is from Leanna.
Congratulations, first of all, 300th anniversary, and now we're on episode 301.
Yeah.
It's a little weird coming back to the normal, usual schedule after that huge episode where we had nearly 30 voicemails and a bunch of people talking about their experiences on Fangoria, and a bunch of experienced editors and writers coming onto your show actually talking about going behind the scenes and creating this magazine that everyone has either heard of or experienced in some way. But a little part of me is glad that we're back to normal. Just because this podcast is very relaxing, even when I do end up fighting with Aries, apparently.
301 a Spaz
First of all, I want to say
Odyssey.
good news. I mentioned this last podcast. I have an internship with the literary magazine, and I found out the news right during the Fangoria episode, which was kind of funny little
Pretty
coincidence.
awesome, kid.
But I have somewhat beginning into a career in my designated field.
It's amazing.
Second, I noticed you're looking for streaming recommendations. May I recommend Creep 2? I don't know if you guys have reviewed it yet. Creep 2 is sequel to Creep 1 about that guy with the crazy wolf mask.
Yes.
Fluffy.
I think I'm not going to say spoilers in case anybody hasn't seen it, but I'm pretty sure it's streaming on Netflix.
Both are.
I don't know if you can find the movie Unsane yet, but I know that you guys haven't done it yet, and it came out this year.
Insane.
God. What are other movies that aren't too mainstream that you haven't done yet? I've been looking through Google trying to figure out, because I know that you guys don't really like to review the movies that get too much mainstream attention. I guess that Get Out was the one exception. Thus far, I found Creep 2 and and Unsane.
Looks like Unsane was Steven Soderbergh. I think I've heard of it. I definitely haven't seen it, but
Oh, I've heard. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw commercials for that.
all right. Well, let's continue on with Leanna.
You could also try 47 Meters Down if you haven't done it yet. And this one is streaming on iTunes, Vudu, Fandango Now, and Amazon. So you might have to pay for it. And
I think it's on Netflix too.
that's all I could really find in the amount of time that I have for this. But good luck on finding your next horror movies. I'm looking forward to your thoughts on them.
All right, Leanna. Well, first of all, congratulations on your internship. That's amazing.
Yeah, awesome.
Especially in the field that you want to be in. So congratulations on that. And also, it's funny. We had someone, a friend of the show, had just kind of reached out to us this week and said that recommended Creep 2. And it was on our radar last year, and we just never got to it because it came out in a weird time, like end of October, and there was so much shit coming out. Like that's why, we literally were doubling up in December, do our December Cram Jam, and it just didn't make the cut. And I wasn't sure if we wanted to do it, too far after the fact. But that's one that we'll probably put on the back burner. And if there's a kind of a week where there's not a lot coming out, we may pull that one back. Because I've had a couple people now have mentioned that recently. So, because we did watch the first one, and we did, overall, I think we generally liked it, right? First Creep?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, might be worth taking a look at the sequel. So, thanks, Leanna, and congrats again.
Very cool.
And now, let's hear from Dynamo's child, Pabst.
I made him with my sperms.
Hey guys, it's Paps. Just calling in this week with a 3-for-1 for your 301st episode.
That's how you were born.
2 that I watched recently, and then my 3rd for my streaming recommendation. First off, I recently watched Rob Zombie's 31, and I was really fucking disappointed with that movie.
It's terrible.
I feel like he phoned it in super hard.
Yep.
Just like the most boring, like... It didn't even seem like he tried on this one. Like, oh, this clown's gonna be a midget, and he's also gonna be a Nazi. Like, the kills were fucking terrible. Like, especially Doomhead, who they like build up throughout the movie. He's got all this fucking like monologue shit going on, and then he's just like, he's got 2 switchblades, and there was nothing about him that was any more dangerous or, I don't know, less inept than the other fucking idiots before him. So definitely a trick on that one. After that, I recently saw A Quiet Place, which I highly recommend. I thought that movie was fantastic.
I loved it.
Super skeptical going in. Not a huge fan of The Office or John Krasinski, but
I love Jim.
He blew me away. I thought the monsters were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Not too complex, not too simple. I thought it was a very interesting concept. It was one of the more original ones that I've heard of in a while. Yeah, definitely recommend that one. And finally, for my streaming recommendation is a movie I just finished called Dearest Sister, which was really, really good. The director, she is not only Laos's first female director, but she's also their first horror director, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
I can't really think of any time I've seen a movie take place in Laos, so it was a really interesting perspective on it. Really cool story. I don't really want to say anything about it, just because I want you guys going in fresh on this one. But it was fantastic, well acted. The dynamic of the characters, just definitely check that one out. All right, have a good night, guys, and peace.
All right, Paps, thanks, buddy. Some good. 31's not a good pick, but I loved Quiet Place, and I have not seen Dearest Sister. Has anyone else in this room seen A Quiet Place?
No, I was hoping that. I think it's going to get fucking knocked out of the box if it already hasn't.
Well, yeah, it already made great money. Like, the first opening weekend, it did way better than expected. But yeah, I mean, with Avengers, it's definitely gonna. If it's not kicked out of theaters, when Deadpool comes out, it will be.
Actually, plus Han Solo is like the next week.
Well, that's the end of the month.
Yeah,
but Deadpool's the next big one.
I was hoping, I had my fingers and toes crossed, that we could visit that when it hits VOD and stuff, much in the way we did this really shitty movie.
The really shitty movie. We've done a few. We did like The Mummy. We did.
That wasn't the one.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, like, we've done a few that came out in theaters.
The one when I just had to remember what I was angry about, and it was that nothing came at night.
Oh, it comes at night, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, me and MZ like that one. Right, MZ, you like that?
I'm trying to remember.
That was with the people with the plague, right? The sickness.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like
where
that.
the infections.
Oh yes, yeah. I remember it now.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I actually liked talking about it. I think I liked our conversation better than I liked the movie, but yeah, I think A Quiet Place is interesting. Maybe that's one that we will make an exception for when it hits VOD, especially if you guys don't get a chance to go out and see it. Just because I think it's a movie that should be talked about because it's a little different, and I think there's a lot going on in terms of it's one of those movies that works on multiple levels. It works on the surface just fine, but then I think if you do want to dig deep, you can get more out of it as well. So I really enjoyed it. So thanks, Pabst. Glad you dug A Quiet Place as well. Cecil says, in theaters, you better go then. I did miss Isle of Dogs. I hesitated on the animated Anderson. I do want to see Isle of Dogs. I'm hoping to see it in the theaters, but I also won't mind if I catch that one on VOD when it hits VOD. Leanna says, I went to see A Quiet Place opening weekend. It's so good. Cecil says, I heard it was putting people to sleep and not in a necessarily bad way, whatever that means, in regard to Isle of Dogs. So...
Put to sleep in a good way?
Well, maybe it's a comforting film.
Maybe people get
The
used to
feel-good film of 2018.
Yeah, that's the one. I don't want
You
dogs.
like
dying.
dogs?
I like dogs.
None of them
but-
die. I heard it's not. It doesn't go
And
there.
one of them is named Ollie.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good name.
Well, we're. Do one of you guys have a recommendation? Raven Shadow or Ares?
I'm just trying to get through fucking Iron Fist, dude. What the fuck? I'm just trying. I think I'm on episode 10.
Yeah, let me pick one for you.
Yeah, I mean that's a little brutal to get through.
And I love Danny, man. I love Danny Rand. I like the show's okay. It's fine, but I'm just struggling. 53 minutes an episode feels like 2 hours sometimes.
It's the weakest of the Marvel shows.
Yeah, I mean he's my favorite character out of all the four of them.
I just I had a lot of car riding this week, so I just caught up on his book.
Yeah.
And that comic is still one of the best
Still
comics
good?
out there. Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely it's plodding along. But I'm trying to do that, and I just DVR'd something that I've never seen before. I've never seen Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, it's great.
I've never seen it.
The original Bride?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, you don't know what you're missing.
Why I don't? I want to see it. So yeah, it's I found a little retro channel, and I'm gonna do that Thursday night after.
It's a good thing we didn't do 2 movies this week.
I know.
I
had a bad
I got Raven Shadow's recommendation.
Oh, you got it? Okay,
Yep.
go for it.
It's a documentary.
Yes.
And it is one of the best music documentaries I mean he has ever seen. It focuses on a band before. It's a 2.5 hour documentary, and it takes you all the way up to when they got signed. So there's at least another 2 hour documentary in there.
I've seen.
You saw it.
I haven't seen all of it. I've seen the first probably hour. Talking about Dee Snider.
And it's called "We Are Twisted Fucking Sister."
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Where I'm at is when his remarkably underage girlfriend was making him outfits.
Yeah, well, it was the 70s. The rules were different.
Well, the ages weren't.
It was New Jersey.
Fair, but no, I can't wait to finish that.
I feel like in New Jersey, statutory means that they're going to erect something of you in the square.
Yes.
I just added it to my list because I keep forgetting about it.
I love it. I've watched it a couple times. And like I said, it's so good that you're actually not disappointed that it stops right before what you turn on the documentary for happens.
Okay, yeah.
So.
All right, Aries, you have something?
I'm gonna go along the lines with Raven Shadow here and stick with the Marvel Netflix shows and recommend Jessica Jones for anyone who hasn't checked that out.
Have you seen season 2?
I haven't seen season 2 yet because I just finished up Punisher, so now I'm gonna start season 2. But the first season was it's one of my favorite of the Netflix shows. It's not as action packed as a lot of the other ones. It is very low key. She is a very, very good character, very powerful character, as anyone who's familiar with her knows. But she's also very flawed. She's very selfish in why she's doing what she's doing.
Yep.
But ends up being, a learning experience throughout the whole thing. And David Tennant is amazing as a villain. I didn't think I would get behind that to support him as a villain, but absolutely amazing.
He was why I probably like 4 episodes in, and then we dropped off. I was mostly watching it for Cage's involvement and for Tennant.
It was amazing. I only have 2 or 3 episodes left of the first season, and if that's one you haven't watched and you're sitting through Iron Fist right now, you fucking blew it.
But I'm not a fan of Jessica Jones. I read the first issue of the book. I didn't like it when it came out.
I was not a fan of the book, but the show, it's amazing. And it's got a very noir feel to it.
Yeah, man. It's got as much to do with any of these as like I don't feel like Daredevil felt like a Daredevil comic. So if I didn't like Daredevil, I wouldn't not have watched that thing. Which I actually thought that was not a very good show. But
and as an added bonus, you get to watch Iron Fist fuck the shit out of Jessica Jones.
Luke Cage.
Jimmy Cage.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, it is by far like. I know it's the first one, so you can't judge it, but in my opinion, and I'm not done with Jessica Jones, so I guess it could mess up, but, like, Daredevil is here, and, like, Jessica Jones is here.
I still haven't finished episode 3 of season 1 of Daredevil.
Tiny says it's the best one, too. He's watched them all so far, so.
Some folks really dig it. And also there's some couple of character cameos, like isn't Patsy Walker.
Yep, she's the other main character.
And am I right, is Bushwhacker mentioned?
Close though. You're on the right track.
Okay.
Daredevil villain.
Yeah.
So.
I
don't. It's only said that in the credits. I don't think that. I'm almost done, and something drastic is going to happen for that to happen in the first season. So.
Flag.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, like you'd, like I don't know. It's the best TV. It's the second best TV show I've watched this year. Nothing will touch Happy, but it's definitely the best of the 2 Marvel shows I watched by like a lot.
Did you watch Punisher yet, Mars?
No, I have to go in order.
Okay.
Tiny almost like Tiny said that Iron Fist is not only bad. He said that it's a show about a kung fu character that they don't do any kung fu. So he said like on principle alone, I shouldn't watch it.
All right. Well, we actually do have one more voicemail. We're going to play this one last, so Mars can blush a lot.
I don't blush.
Hello, Trick or Treat Radio. It's Julie Meow Meows. I'm back.
Yeah.
I've been off the internet for a couple of months, more or less. But I'm back around now, and I've been listening to the backlog of Trick or Treat Radio episodes that I had missed. And my favorite was definitely the one with Grady Hendrix from Paperbacks, who wrote Paperbacks from Hell. That was really cool. I love any talk about horror novels, especially the old 80s paperbacks. I mean, that's really my wheelhouse. If you could talk about that and you could talk about VHS, then you've got a fan for life in me. I really don't have anything else to talk about. I don't think you had a question of the week. Maybe you did. But I thought we could do another edition of Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Don't say that.
Let's do horror monsters this time. So you have to choose between Pinhead, Candyman, and Pennywise. Yeah, I think that's a good group. That's all I have to say. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right.
Jim Carrey, Pennywise.
So we have to do Fuck, Marry, Kill for Pinhead, Candyman, Pennywise. Oh, that's a tough one, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got marry.
Yeah, I do too.
I'd marry. I'm familiar with pain and suffering, so I guess Pinhead would be the appropriate spouse. No, every day was magical. And that's what I'm into.
Fuck Tony Todd.
I don't know, because I think he'd fuck me.
He'd like fucking put the hook in your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want
It would be like
that.
the equivalent of grabbing the back of your hair and shit.
That hurts. There's a reason for the military haircut. I don't want that. So I think I got to fuck. Is it Tim Curry, Pennywise, or the new weird one?
I would go with Tim Curry.
All right, he can alter
I guess
his
you can. She didn't specify,
All
so you
right.
can pick.
And he can alter his shape, right? I could be like, you could be like, a nice girl or something.
Nice girl, what?
Yeah. Like
No, it has to be Pennywise.
All right.
Maybe once in a while.
I'll fuck the spider that he becomes.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so fuck Pennywise. I'll marry Hellbound or the fuck and
Hellbound, whatever the fuck.
And get it killed. I don't want to kill Tony Todd, but I just don't think either options are satisfying. So yeah.
All right, Aries, you have an answer?
I'm not down with the whole fur coat hook thing. That's fashion faux pas. So that's the kill for me right there. Yeah. And I don't know. I think I could hang with Pennywise. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Mary there.
Oh.
And I probably could fuck the shit. That skinny motherfucker. Oh,
well, he is all about pleasure, right?
I'm ripping that motherfucker in two.
Oh! Jesus. I can't go after that.
Yeah, he fucking means it.
Aries, he'll tear your hole apart.
Holy, I'm gonna get a boner.
Wow. Seriously, I don't know. I don't know that can be topped. So,
yeah.
Unless one of you guys has a different answer you want to go with.
I would definitely fuck Pennywise. I'd be like, get down here. We all float down here.
There's a balloon to my balls.
No, I actually think I would marry Pennywise because he'd be nice and funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's what everyone else picked, I think.
I did.
No,
Oh,
I would kill
everyone that matters.
I would kill Tony Todd because I'm allergic to bees.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Everything that's against Tony Todd, the bees, the hook, the fur coat, just doesn't work. He'd have to go away. He'd have to kill. As far as Mary,
Pinhead would have to be the bottom, right? Like he'd have to learn some new tricks.
You know, I think
asshole.
Yeah, I think I'd marry Pennywise and fuck Pinhead, and watch the nails or needles just shoot out of his face with every thrust.
Wow.
You motherfuckers.
Either that else, or just limp dick it and just watch him just droop out of his face.
God.
Wait, what?
So Leanna says, I'd fuck Tony Todd, marry Pennywise, and kill Pinhead. Tony's voice, what a bedroom voice.
Yeah, well.
We watched Typo Negative with him one time. Is that cool?
Cecil says, if this was Tim Curry as Frankenfurter, it would be different, or even his Satan from Legend.
I'd fuck the shit out of Frank.
I totally agree, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the sexiest woman I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Bosch says, Aries would look cool wearing a fur coat with his beard and stuff.
That's true.
Cecil says, marry Candyman, fuck Pinhead, kill Pennywise. Leanna says, Raven Shadow and Aries are fucking kinksters. Is that like hipsters but different?
Who said that?
Leanna.
Fans
And
of Ray Davies.
Julie says, oh my lord. Bosch says, oh, you know it, King City with this, guys. Cecil says, total Howard Stern levels right here. Oh boy. All right, well, we got to wrap shit up.
I bet you Pinhead would be into if you like peed on him and stuff. Though
He
He's
might-
into some
I'd
weird
be.
stuff. Yeah.
He'd totally trump you.
The pins would rust.
Pins would rust. All right, well, let's go around the room and say our goodbyes.
I'm gonna tear you. Hey, hey!
I said, tell
Is
me
that pee in my eye?
I had such exquisite things to show you, but now my eyes are burning.
Don't come in my mouth.
Instead of hooks, catheters come down and shit.
Oh boy! All right, let's end this. Fucking mercifully.
Let's end this, please.
MZ.
Arrivederci, you fucking douchebags.
Aries.
Goodbye.
Raven Shadow.
Live fast, love hard, die with your mask on.
All right, Mars Man.
Remember, children, wherever you go, there you are.
All right, everyone. Thank you to everyone. We got a ton of voicemail tonight. It was awesome. We love hanging out with you dudes. Thanks for everyone hanging out in the chat room. You guys are the fucking best. If you've never joined a live show, consider it, man. Wednesday nights from 9 p.m. to about midnight 30 Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday. Come hang out with us on trickortreatradio.com. It is a blast. You should do it at least once. It's good for your health. And next week, as we talked about, we're going to be talking about Psychokinesis. It is available on Netflix if you'd like to play along at home. And as always, if you guys want to send us streaming recommendations, and it wasn't specifically for us to get recommendations for the show, just for other people to recommend films to each other. So, who knows? Maybe we could pick some of those movies out to review down the road if there's a light week. But, yeah, so that's going to do it. We appreciate you guys hanging out for episode 301. For everyone who's going to listen to the podcast, thank you guys for downloading it. If you haven't, give us a 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week for 302. We'll see you then.